give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love. I am sharper than a switchblade, first and last of one God made, and that's the truth. But man, keep on trying to hold me back while another chicken head come on loose. Too strong, try to do me wrong, and the last one standing will order and command you to dance. Oh, dance. But tell your preacher and your teacher, I'ma give you what you love. I got to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. Give you what you love.
Well, well, well. Good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you're following me on any of the social media streams via Facebook or Instagram, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. I am sure you have already been told that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, will be in Philadelphia at the Constitution Center. Whenever he gets there, we will run it live on The Source today. So be prepared for that. In the meantime, if you want to call me, it should be between 2 and 3 o'clock. So if you want to call me, 215-634-8065 is the number. It has been, again, another interesting day. Gunshots are still ringing out around our city and in the country, and there's just so much that I need to talk to all of you about. The first thing I want to say, though, is this. Hi, Viola, I see you. I don't see myself yet on YouTube, so I'm going to wait for that to pop up some kind of way. Let me just make sure that I'm doing this properly. I see that the emails that are coming through, some of you email me quite a bit. One of them is Maurice. And Maurice, I just want you to know I'm reading all your emails, all of them. I may not respond because I don't have time to respond. Because aside from doing my research for the radio show, I actually have other contracts and other things that I'm working on and working with. So I'm constantly working, literally. I may post on Facebook and then go about my business, but most of the times you all don't realize I'm constantly working. So I see your emails. I appreciate them. Good afternoon, Gary Bryant. How are you? Viola, good afternoon. I appreciate your emails. Keep them coming. And when I am able to respond, Maurice, you already know this. When I'm able to respond, I will. So here we go. Let's go, shall we? Let me get all the stuff in so that I can get it together. The first thing that I wanted to talk about today is that, you know, the gun violence is ramping up. But the Philadelphia Tribune wrote an article. Well, actually, they didn't. The Associated Press wrote an article, and the Tribune carried it. It says, grief counselors in short supply with gun violence rising. Philadelphia, and this was who? Claudia Lahr from the Associated Press wrote this. It breaks my heart because I am getting ready to report about violence that happened over the weekend, and it directly impacted a friend of mine it was his son's best friend that got shot and killed in that car. And so we can't continue to glibly overlook what's going on in the city and the surrounding suburbs because it is just not good. Philadelphia, as Brett Roman Williams stood at the Philadelphia Examiner's office staring at a photo of his older brother's face, a familiar feeling welled in his chest. Williams' father was shot and killed in 1996 when Williams was 11, and the ebb and flow of grief had washed over him for 20 years. But in 2016, when his brother was killed by gunfire, Williams reached out to a grief counselor for help to cope. Now, Williams serves on the board of that organization where he once sought solace, and he's trying to provide that same kind of support to others. But the demand is far outpacing the supply of counselors because of spiking crime. With more than 270 homicides in Philadelphia during the first half of 2021, the city has been outpacing the number of murders in 2020 when 499 people were killed, mostly from gunfire, the highest homicide numbers in more than 2 decades. The number of people injured in shootings has also exploded over the past 18 months. Oh, hi, Haley Alston. Thank you so much. Williams is chairman of the board for the Anti-Violence Partnership of Philadelphia, which provides counseling services to people affected by violence. He said there were 174 people on the wait list at the end of June, compared with about 30 people at the same time last year. You know I'm reading this on purpose, right? So many of you called it and say, what can I do? How can I help? You may not be certified grief counselors, but you may have been touched by grief. Your families, and maybe at this the Anti-Violence Partnership of Philadelphia, maybe they'll train you and walk you through how you can support a family. When you see all the things that are going on in the city of Philadelphia and you want to support, maybe this is a place where you can step up and actually help. Hurt people, and this is a pivotal moment in Philly because there are a lot of people hurting in the city right now, Williams said. Executive Director Natasha McGlynn said that since September, the agency has provided counseling services to 425 teenagers who have lost family or friends or who have themselves survived gunfire. She said counselors are seeing layers of trauma and re-victimization as gun violence increases. Crime has been spiking nationwide after it plummeted in the early months of the pandemic, with many cities seeing the type of double-digit increase in gun violence that is plaguing Philadelphia. The Biden administration has sent strike forces to Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. to help take down gun networks. Biden has also encouraged states to use COVID-19 relief money to hire police or additional counselors. Lynn Lind, Chief Knowledge and Learning Officer of the American Counseling Association, said there was already a shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas when the coronavirus hit. Add the economic, emotional, and other losses from the pandemic and lockdown, and now waves of gun violence in small and large cities across the country. And Lynn said most mental health professionals are stretched to their limit. Anecdotally, I don't know anyone who has openings, and there are a lot of mental health professionals who are working extra hours and just burning out, Linda said. I agree. When my friend Leah died, I still need grief therapy. I do. And have been trying to figure out how to work around and through it. And I don't know a counselor that is available, and I wouldn't want anyone to give up their space just so that I could get in, but I need to get counseling. And so this is just from my personal story. I can't even imagine the amount of people. This past weekend, one of my friends that walk with me canceled the walk because his son's best friend was shot and killed in a car. And so, you know, we are literally continuing to have these kinds of conversations. Let me just see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find the story. There we go. Philly man killed after botched ghost gun sale in Ardmore and 3 arrested. And this was written by Annie McCormick in 6ABC. And so I had a good conversation with some friends of mine this morning. And one of the things we talked about was this. We do everything we can to make sure our children are okay. When my boys were growing up, I made sure I had a village around them. What did I mean by that? If I didn't have my eyes on them, I had friends who knew where they were at all times. So they didn't let them know that they were watching them, but they would call them, invite them over to the house, make sure they were okay. They were spending time with their friends. Everybody knew where they were. And so we enacted the village to make sure that our children were okay. Oftentimes, as parents, we're working and we don't know what is going on. We are never, ever, ever to assume that everything is okay with our children because they say, when you ask them, what's your work today at school? Okay. and they don't have anything to say. Pay attention to their behaviors. Pay attention to whether they're withdrawing or whether their behaviors have changed in a way that is not cool. Pay attention to whether they're staying out more and hanging out with friends, or maybe or maybe they've just secluded themselves, and all of a sudden they're not talking to anyone. Pay attention to all of that, because from what I can understand, this family had no idea some of this stuff was going on, because they're working, living in a great neighborhood, and figuring out their children have needed absolutely nothing. And so as the stories continue to unfold, I'm asking this, that even if you know these children are not your own, but they're friends of your children, please pay attention. Step up in the gap. Do what you can. Many of us are doing it. Others need to do it. When we talk about what can we do, as we're screaming and hollering about our politicians, these are the things that we can do in our own communities to make sure our children stay safe, right? And quite frankly, let me also say this, and this may rub some people the wrong way. We think because we are making 6 and 7 figures, because I've worked in spaces before. I remember working in a middle school in another community that I will not name, and the principal saying to me, let me tell you something, we had to help this one boy who they live in the house was so big that he could cross the house and not see his father, and was so mad he had come to the school to get some stuff to mix up to hurt his father, and so children want, more than the things, more than the fancy cars and living in the big homes. They literally want our attention, period. Okay? And so these kinds of things, and then that means having lunch with them. I had lunch dates with my sons, once a month. Sometimes I would take the both of them together. Sometimes it was just one-on-one. And I would sit and let them talk. I would say, put away your phones and let's talk. I need to know what's going on with you in your sphere. What's happening with your children. And yes, it's like pulling teeth, but I got them to talk. And now as adults, they'll call me when they need something, which was the goal, because we're raising children of color in this country, and we don't want them to hide things from us. And then I had friends who would call and say, I saw, your son today. He's fine. I just want to let you know I saw your child today. And so enact your village. So it says here, 3 people have been arrested and in connection with the murder of a man in Ardmore, Pennsylvania on Saturday. According to the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, Micah Colbert, 19, of Ardmore, and Elijah Smith, 21, of Philadelphia, were arrested Sunday in the murder of 19-year-old Laith Evans of Philadelphia. Police say Evans was found slumped behind the wheel of his vehicle, parked in the 100 block of Ardmore Avenue. He was found shot in the face and pronounced dead at an area hospital. I'm not reading any more of this story. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Okay, here we go. So let me take some of these calls. I have Prince and I have Woody. Prince, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging. What's up?
So, things. My friend, she's the aunt, and that's her nephew. And she is going to his funeral. Kid
that's the
died.
one that died in Ardmore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
yep. And he is my friend's son's best friend.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And we don't realize that we all like 1 degree away from each other of knowing somebody who knows somebody. So
exactly.
I just wanted to find out from you, because we need to make this solution based, because it's already past that threshold of being not just a problem now.
Right.
It's bigger than that. So it's no longer a problem. It has grown out of proportion of a problem. And so now we have to come up with a solution, and heads either have to roll in order to get us out of this predicament, or you're going to experience in this next 30 days of the summer deaths at a level that you haven't experienced before.
Yes.
And so folks are so comfortable with receiving paychecks because it's not in their backyard. I would always say that the worm inside the apple doesn't just contaminate the hole it's in. It contaminates the whole apple. Because the fluids off of it. And so at some point in time, we have to co-collectively share.
Right.
And we have to deal with people whose true purpose is to eradicate and stop this, what's going on. Because as long as it is going on, Andrea, we have ceased to develop economics in our own community.
Right.
Like, they're not even letting folks at the table, and they're building with cranes that are falling in your community, and yet you still don't get to do the security around that. You still don't get to do the grass cutting. You still don't get to do any of the things that you need so you can move out of Philadelphia, away from a bad area, or go somewhere. And so we have to, at some point in time, not just concentrate on the problem, but we have to concentrate on the solution. And we can't ignore the problems. I've seen a couple of news stations decide to run the killings on the ticker tape and talk about the Olympics and COVID. So that means you're not significant no more until you become that white kid that dies in North Philly, or that white kid that dies in West Philly, or that white kid that's a college student that gets a shot in gunfire. And I think one of the ways to get out of this is that you have to independently start developing your own information base, because the propaganda is spent so many ways that by the time you digest somebody dying today, you got somebody else dying tomorrow.
Right, right, and it's really bad on so many levels. We don't think about the people who have to collect those bodies. We don't think about the people who are left devastated. It's just so much, Prince. It's so much. It's so much.
What I like for you to do, and I know it's so much, but, you know, if those are job opportunities for folks who've been there 20 years, sending their kids to the best college, making six figures, why would they ever stop?
Right.
Why would they even care enough to stop? And
because karma is really very real.
Right. You are correct on that. But most of them live long enough to not care when they're at 80 and 85 and 90, because their grandkids are set. And it's that level of sight control where you know that this is going to happen. But as long as it's not happening to you, we can continue to let it happen, because I just think that we do too much fighting within ourselves that we could never really stop and say, well, let's all go down to Roosevelt Boulevard and find out who has this contract to cut the boulevard, and why is it only these same people? They gave a friend of mine who was working landscaping company the contract to clean up on Broad Street. And he is Hispanic, and Mexicans are cleaning up Broad Street through a landscaping company who talks bad about North Philly and bad about the city, but he's a multi-million-dollar landscaping company who has been contracted to clean the debris up in black neighborhoods while guys stand on the corners in front of stop and goes. That is the wrong.
Or standing in line at the blood bank to sell their blood. I saw that this morning.
That is such the wrong message.
Yep.
That is pathetically awful. That none of the politicians, I'm talking about young guys like Isaiah, all the way up to older guys like Dale Clark, has not come up with a plan to remove these folks economically, not violently, but yet, you don't see these 12-year-old, 10-year-olds trying to pump gas at the gas station, asking for money. You groom young men to beg for money. And so you should have a plan. You know, like I said once before, if you're going to spend money and give it to pastors, then have the pastors get dump trucks and let's pick this trash up in the city with guys that are standing on the corner and pay them $20 an hour. You have to begin to think outside the box, and you keep waiting. And you always want to blame either Republicans or the white man.
Listen,
or white
at this point, I gave them a solution this morning. We have to look out for each other. I gotta go, Prince, because I gotta take a break.
Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you for taking my call.
You're quite welcome, my brother. Take it easy. All right. We spend so much time pointing fingers when the solutions are right there. If each of us stepped outside of ourselves and start to really do something. We all have the capability. We may not have the position, but we certainly have the capability to look and right in our backyards to help each other. And that is where this has come down to. We cannot. Yes, we can hold our politicians accountable. I am in 100% agreement about that. But while we're holding them accountable, nothing is going to change if nothing changes. Hear what I'm telling you? You are listening to The Source. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
They're back.
Everyone's ready.
Platinum Shows presents the Dell Music Center Summer Series. Sunday, August 1st, it's Jeffrey Osborne. On the wings of love. Peebo Bryson.
I'm so into you.
And Regina Bell.
Baby, come to me.
Then Sunday, August 15th, it's the Basement Party with Big Daddy Kane. Baby Cool Mo D. EPMD, Nice and Smooth. The Sugar Hill Gang with the Furious Five featuring Grandmaster Melly Mel and Scorpio. Roxanne Shante. And Tough Crew. Big Sunday, September 5th, Labor Day weekend. It's the Party in the Park with the Whispers. Stephanie Mills.
'Cause I never knew love like this before.
And After 7. Tickets available at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. For more information, log on to ppshows.com.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month
with Stephanie Humphrey.
Brought to you by Comcast.
Email phishing scams are nothing new, but they get more convincing and sophisticated every day. In the past, you'd get fake emails that seemed to come from your bank or credit card company, but now you could also see messages that appear to come from Amazon, PayPal, or Netflix as well. So how can you spot a scam? Look for misspellings or grammar errors in the email message. Most phishing scams try to scare you with a sense of urgency in the message that tries to get you to click on a link or provide account information. And one of the biggest telltale signs of a phishing scam is the email address of the sender. Pay close attention to where the email came from. A scam email address is usually totally unrelated to the company it's claiming to represent. Remember, a legitimate company will never send an email asking you for sensitive personal information, so if you're unsure, call the company directly and never click any links or open any attachments in the message. Stay safe online, stay tuned to WURD for more tips, and stay connected with us at WURDradio.com.
The Word Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the Word Radio Newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Woody, how are you?
Well, I'm trying to be better. I want you to be better, too. I know you've been doing your exercises and everything. I just want you to try to replace your water, and hopefully you've taken that Manuka honey that I told you about last time we talked.
Yes, sir. I'm taking care of myself.
Very good. That's all I want to know. As long as you're doing that, I'm fine. Because you already know who loves you, so I figured I'd let you know that you got to take care of yourself
Woody,
first.
You're going to have to join the line, Woody. You're going to have to join the line.
Yeah, well, believe me, I know. I'm in the line. You're getting ready to throw me off. That's why I'm calling so early now, because as soon as the president gets in place, I'll be off the phone in a second, so I better hurry up. I just wanted to say to you that back in the day, we had our blocks. Every block had elders in it, and the elders were respected. Now, my little concept here in the barbershop, which I invite you anytime, and your husband and your sons, I always bring the elders to conversate with the younger people. That still works. See, we're getting so far and far away because we got politicians in place, we got senators and doctors and lawyers, but those elders who have lived life in the same community that you're in have a lot to share. And until you sit down with them and share with them, you'd be surprised what it'll help, because guns don't kill, mindsets do. So if you have the mindset of negative energy continually coming at you from television, radio, the newspapers, the magazines, everything is preaching about the attention that we have to pay.
Yeah, but Woody, can I ask you this, though? Because what happened to monitoring the social media? Because we keep saying we can't do what we need to do with our children. But I was able to monitor their social media. Their phones were taken away at a certain time each night. I was not afraid of my sons. I just never was afraid of my sons, right? In fact, all I had to do was roll my eyeballs and go, if you think. And between the ages of 16 and 18, I was like, Father, help me to get through this. But they had specific times when they could watch television. They weren't even allowed to play the video games, so much so that now as adults, the older one plays his video games all the time. He's like, because I didn't get to play it as a child. It was, I was constantly doing things with them. We didn't go to fancy places. I walked with them down the street to the park. We went to the pond. I read to them. I spoke with them. We had those kinds of conversations. And I get it. So I'm just saying to myself, yes, we need people to step into place. Yes, we have some folks, and we know the folks who are really struggling and have no help, so we can step in to help them. But what about the rest of us who call here and talk about how well we've raised our children and how our children have never been to prison and blah, 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 blah. What about those of us who can step in the gap and mentor? Why is that so difficult, Woody?
It's an old saying, it takes a village. See, in some cases, people are in like some type of competition where my child is doing this and my child is doing that, and we do this with that child and the other. Communities would always see the weakness in certain children, and they would fill those spaces.
Right.
See, we don't get that today, and particularly as it relates to education. A lot of these parents can't read. You see, and they don't want to expose that.
But Woody, you don't have to know how to read to care.
That's my point.
Honestly,
my point is this. If you care, and then see, you got to get past. That's why I say the elders got past it. Some of those elders that couldn't read, they don't care about it anymore, so they give what they have. But some of these parents are very, very young, and that's why when you were talking about social media, maybe there's a way we can feed the social media information pertaining to how important the elder is as it relates to some of those answers back and forth. I think it could be done.
I agree.
And I'd love to talk to you and your husband and your children, your sons particularly, about that, because you raised them in a certain way, which is to help others. That's what my parents did. You don't look down on the child that doesn't have. That's part of your neighborhood. You lift that up. We don't care about that anymore. That's we're losing our neighborhoods. A lot of them are being gentrified out, but we still got a lot left.
And I get so annoyed when we say, well, this doesn't happen here. Well, guess what? Newsflash, it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere when we take our eyes off of making sure we look out for all of our children. What has happened is that we've gotten so selfish. We're selfishly thinking about our own children or the children that we deem appropriate to hang out with our group of children. They have to be in certain organizations. They have to live in certain places. They have to go to certain schools. And so we within our own communities, and yes, I'm talking about it because, damn it, nobody else is going to do it. We within our own communities have blocked ourselves off from each other, trying to disassociate ourselves because we've arrived. We have so arrived that we've forgotten to do. Yes.
It becomes competition. See, competition has nothing to do with healing. It only has to do with winning. When you understand that the real win comes from within, and that's when the community heals. When the community heals, then everybody's healing. When the community fails, then everybody's failing. I don't care how much money you make or how far you go. It doesn't matter. If your community is failing, then so are you, because you can't go outside. You're always on edge, and something's always happening. So we got to heal the community. It starts with how you think. What you take into your body affects how you feel. What you feel affects how you think, and what you think affects the outcome of whatever you do.
So, Woody, you have your barbershop. And
I'm opening the door for you. I'm already telling you.
But it doesn't have to be just, you've been doing some great things. That barbershop is like a museum.
Well,
what can
we
you do?
write a lot here, and I try to paint the picture of what you think. See, because what you think will be the outcome of what you do.
Right.
The key is the mind. The guns don't kill. People do. We have to get to the mind. That's it. I wrote something once. Once it was called a saying I do. You see what I'm saying? Just talking about when you make that commitment. It's a whole picture to that. It's something that just think about it. Just don't go out and do it, because most kids just respond to it that way. But you have to think about everything you do before you do it. The power of the mind is directly connected to the external universe, and your internal universe and the external universe are all the same. It's one whole. When you understand that, and these kids don't hear this type of talk, that's why I write the poetry, to make them think. Read this. What do you think about that? And when you open that door, you'll be surprised what you'll find.
Yeah, yeah. And even to have some of our scholarly students who are so bright and heading off with 4.0s to some of the best universities and colleges, have them mentor some of the younger children, you know?
You
and
get
so
everybody to help in this, Andrea.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, Woody.
The spirit of the individual, do they want to help, or are they trying to get paid?
Yeah.
Or is it something behind it? You have to come directly from the heart.
And that is why I'm saying what I'm saying, Woody.
Yeah,
you know, it's going to take everybody to get involved and engaged.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is not getting any better, and we keep looking around, pointing fingers.
They're very old and they're very young together. That's how you
Yes. And to have the kinds of unnecessary conversations around how to squash a squabble, right? Sit down and say, how do you squash a beef? You know, when it starts popping up on Instagram or whatever. And then ask the young cats, explain to me what these words mean, because they're right in lingo now, and they use code languages to get what they want across. How do we squash a beef? And then we can talk to them about artificial intelligence, what that means, and how that impacts them when they put their addresses out there, what that looks like for them. People can find them. People are, pay attention to, I feel like we're in a civil war against ourselves and a war zone.
It is within yourself. When you ask yourself, what do you really know? And I wrote something I'll never forget saying, knowing do we? Asking yourself, what do you know? What I know that I know. But what I've learned that I know is what I think I know. The more I learn what I know, the more I know I just don't know. So we really don't know, do we? It is what we believe from within. That is the key that will take us throughout this life. You have to go in order to get out.
Yeah. Look, I can't disagree with you.
I know, babe. Just don't get upset. My door is always open.
Woody, I gotta tell you, I was doing something this morning. I do these trainings and that I don't ever talk about. But for the first time in 30 years, I sat in a room this morning and I started to cry.
I know, babe.
You know, people are going through so much, and we are so concentrated on what's happening in our backyards instead of looking, if I am going through this, somebody else must be going. Can I practice kindness with the person next to me or around me that works with me, so that they can have a better day? The trauma is impacting everybody, Woody. Everybody.
The external society that we live in. When you talk about politicians, well, what about when we didn't have politicians? All we had was ourselves here.
Right.
And we had to depend on us. That's what the guts are all about. We are graduating now. I can call the politician and tell him what he's not doing. Well, in the meantime, you're not exercising your own universal law of what you're supposed to be doing at this time, in this moment. So everybody has something they're supposed to be doing. What kind of tool am I? That's the question we should ask ourselves every day we get up.
Yeah, agreed. I absolutely agree. Thank you, my brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. It was so funny. My husband came home yesterday, Woody, don't hang up yet, and he said, I know Woody didn't call because Woody don't call on Mondays.
Well, you tell that brother that's a good time for me and him to put our heads together right here at the barbershop on Monday.
He said Woody don't call on Mondays, so I know Woody didn't call.
He understands, and guess what? I can't blame him because he has a wonderful lady, and he loves her very much, and so do many, many others who care about you because you care about others. And I just want to say that that's one of the reasons you know who loves you, baby.
Bye, Woody. Bye-bye. Friendly Fred, how are you, darling?
How you doing, Andre? How you feel, honey?
I'm good. How you feeling? You got some motivation for me today?
Yes, I do. But first I want to say it's a solution, and they know the solution, but they're not talking about the solution and how to stop crime and violence, right?
Okay, so give me the so Friendly Fred, I'm going to ask you to slow down for mother so I can hear you clearly, right?
Oh.
So give me the solution that you have.
Well, right now I ain't got my glasses, so I can't read right now. But the solution, you can Google the solutions too, because everything written already. But but I don't have my glasses, so I can't read it. So.
Okay.
But Los Angeles can call up because they know the solution too, and they know the solution in Philadelphia too, but they're not talking about it.
And so, Camden, right across the water, is working through community policing, getting folks to work together. It works. It works.
Right, and for the children to have positive ways, recreation and. It's a lot. I'll spend it tomorrow, but right now I'll write it down so I can see it because I have to, And then, but they know that y'all can call. But anyway, what I call for is just to say that we are family. It's all about love, not dominating, but showing love and guidance for everyone else in the family, and sharing happiness and togetherness and lovingness, fairness, and peacefulness. And Mommy just said, take your time, young man. Don't you rush to get old. And all the things you ask, you will know someday. But you got to live in a patient way, and things you don't know, someday you will grow. And she told me little things like saying hello and thank you, please. And all I want for you is understanding, just to communicate. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, ABC. The glorious freedom of the children of God, which are the family of God. Stay young at heart. God's design for the family, and God's plan for the family. So divine order is being directed by God. Divine order is divine government, God in control. Divine order is the flow of the Spirit as we yield to His guidance and direction. Divine government is the word truth active in our lives. Divine order is living in covenant power, right standing with God. And y'all can call about the solutions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, my brother. So here's what I'm going to do. While I'm waiting for President Biden to come on the air, I want you to call me. Call here, 215-634-8065. I want men, women, young people, older citizens to call in and tell me, what was the solution that works for you? What is the solution you would like to see? Don't tell me about the politicians, because I swear, until we figure out how to vote people out of office and get people to run against them that is worth something, give me a solution that will work in our communities, please. Woody gave me a couple. Friendly Fred told us to look up some solutions, right? Lola. And even Prince, right? We have all been talking about what can we do. You heard me talk today about, raising sons and making sure that there was a village around them, and not just taking care of my own children, but making sure I was responsible for the other children that they considered friends, and even the ones that didn't consider friends, to step in the gap to help them, to support them. What is different today? We do know we have social media, but parenting is still parenting, y'all. I mean, really. And it can be done. It absolutely can be done. So I'm going to take a break. Call me, 215-634-8065. And let's talk about some solutions that would work in our community. Solutions that worked in yesterday. Solutions that worked in the 70s and the 80s, because many of you have been around for a good long time. And you know what worked in this city. I watched a concert called Summer of Soul. And I looked and I saw the Black Panther standing there, support, when the cops wouldn't show up, the Black Panther was there making sure that the community was safe. They had lunch programs for the children. Like we did it. We did it before, and community members were showing up and doing what they needed to do and standing in the gap and showing up in meetings and saying, these are the living conditions that we're under and we need to get better. We were working together as a group. Somewhere along the line, we got in this place of, I made my money and I am figuring out a better way. But you see, have we actually figured out a better way? Because just because you made the money and you live in a fantastic place does not mean that crime and violence cannot find you. The minute you send your child off to college, or the minute you send your child off to travel the world, and they run into a child whose freedom and values were taken away from birth until they decided to do something criminal, and it's your child that gets caught up in it. I need you to think that way, so that when you try to turn your back and pretend that it will not affect you because you have moved on up and you're living in a better place and living the dream, that dream can turn into a nightmare when we don't take care of each other. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
This Word Wellness vignette is brought to you by Penn Medicine. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Have you ever heard someone say, "You're way too serious," and you thought, they couldn't be talking about me? Well, let's face it, sometimes the hardships of life get our faces and our moods all tied in a bunch. Sometimes we forget to smile and enjoy life's simple things. Lightening your life with laughter can look like this. Number 1, watch a funny movie by yourself or with family. Number 2, revisit your favorite comedian's stand-up special. Number 3, doodle, draw, or play a card game with the children in your life. See the world through their eyes. We sometimes think in order to laugh, we have to do specific things. Yet, we can choose to find joy all around us every day. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com. This WURD Wellness vignette was brought to you by Penn Medicine.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on wordradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I tell you all to call, and you call. Elias, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Mother?
I'm good. What's going on, sir?
Hey, same old about this drug and crime and all this violence in our community. You know, everybody say gun violence, but I never see guns in the corner dealing drugs. I don't see guns abandoning their little gunette. Get it? I'm being sarcastic. Understand what I'm saying? I don't see any of that. It's our adults with the bad behaviors in our homes. Do you notice? There was a gentleman that spoke about these Mexicans, you know, doing the landscaping, the business, and all that. And you see our Latino and black brothers and sisters out in the street near the bodega stores. I'm always talking about that stuff, you know. But you don't see them complaining that they want jobs.
Right.
Okay, that's the problem. So foreigners are part of this problem that we're going through in our community with enabling the drug addictions and everything via running, you know, having these businesses predominantly in our poor community. So if we don't talk about that and raise awareness about that, not patronize
Elias, tell me, I need you to clarify for me how the foreigners are causing the issues in the community. Give it to me straight, okay? So that I know what you mean.
They know what sells in our community. In their mind, they only think that we do drugs, we drink all day, and you know they're catering to our people, supplying that because it's legal, right? But still, there's no morals. American law and man's law itself is not about morals.
Okay.
You know, so they're preying on us, and then we patronize them. So our gun violence in our community and everything it will never get any better because first it starts at home, like you said. You always had your eyes on your children.
Yes.
But do you? This is a question to you. Do you ever listen to the radio stations, the Latino radio stations, and our other black radio stations that only promote gun violence, drugs via the music that is put out there? It's business. They don't care about our own people. So we're committing crimes on our own selves as well. So you know how people say, don't point the finger, but accountability is the same thing. When we say we need to take accountability, you're pointing the finger.
Yeah.
So we need to be straightforward with our own kind and say, you know what are you doing behind your doors at home? Why did your child get shot? Why did your young adult, black Latinos getting killed that lives in your home? They're not all victims.
There you go, Elias. That's what I was. Did you hear me at the beginning of the show?
Yes.
I said we have got to pay attention to what is happening. We assume that because we live in a certain space, we assume that because we're making a certain amount of money, that we know that our children have no need to do certain things. And I am saying, I have lived in those communities, and I have watched the amount, as a school board member, the amount of things these children were doing, from pills to fights to using their, I mean, all sorts of things. All sorts of things. And these are people who are living in $1 million homes. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, Elias? So we have to stop assuming that our children are okay because we have created a space for them. What they want is our love and our attention, period. Period.
Yeah, but mother, you have to understand this. You know, there's a big percentage. You got to walk the street. You ever see our women and our men with how they're walking with their pajamas and their little slippers? These are adults. I mean, I'm talking about, I'm 54. You got 54-year-olds walking around to the beer deli, the bodega stores to get the blunt wrappers, the dice, the crack pipes, everything, the beer, okay? Their 20-something-year-old sons, 30-something-year-old sons, they're in jail, in and out of the system. And you know what? The white man, I don't care about the white man is, you know, they do bad things. Well, let's talk about our people, what we're doing behind our closed doors.
Right.
And you know, there's a lot of them that are not taking responsibility. We're not pointing these people out. There's no penalty for them not raising their kids correctly. Okay? And I never, listen, I never left my neighborhood. I live in a drug-infested neighborhood. I make very good money to not live around here. But I'm here for a reason, because I see the kids around, these young bucks in the gas stations, and I encourage them. I tell them about picking up trades. HVAC is one course.
Come on
to
now,
take.
on.
That's a lifetime.
Yes.
I'm a HVAC mechanic for 33 years. I'm a senior mechanic. I didn't go to school. I was a 19-year-old in 1986. Raised 4 children myself in the hood. Okay? But and I used to report drug dealing anonymously if I see drug dealing in my corner. Okay?
Yes.
Those drug dealers used to think that I was Mr. Nice Guy cleaning the front of my house. I would say good morning to them. I wouldn't say what's up to them.
Go.
How you doing? Hey, Poppy, you need anything, let me know. Anybody message, let me know. Okay. Hello, 911. Yeah, I got some drug dealing here going on in this corner, blah, 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 blah. Hey, there's a way to get your neighborhood back. Anonymously report drug dealing. Drug dealers don't have the technology to screen your cell phone.
Right.
So
come on now. So they don't know what you come on.
You know what I'm saying? But here's another thing. Before I let you go, Mother, okay? You see how we're speaking this in WURD?
Yes.
Guess what? We need to put commercials. The city, we're taxpayers. The city has money in their budget to instantaneously keep commercials in Power 99 and in the Latino deplorable music that they have as well, okay, to pay for commercials, okay, to say respect school education, stay away from drug dealing, and report any drug dealing going on in your community. Get the community back. And another thing, Mother, where are all these hip-hop artists nationwide that are marketing and preying on our kids and glorifying drugs, calling each other the N-word, degrading women, and even our women rappers, the Latinas and the American rappers. They're nowhere to be found to make awareness and create commercials and say, listen, respect school education. Don't get involved in drug dealing. Respect your body. Okay? Do not use the N-word. Where's Jay-Z? Where's Meek Mill?
Right. But you know,
we got to call these people out.
Right. So
because
Elias,
they have to help.
So Elias, you know, I am listening to you. You have made some amazing good points, right? But I also want to highlight that when we respect ourselves as adults, our children will be respectful. Let me give you an example. I was in North Philly some years ago visiting a friend, and the friend lived in the hood, and they were going around the quote unquote lived in the hood. Because let me just this is what they said, that I live in the hood and I'm going around to the Chinese store. Will you come with me? So trash is everywhere. I walk into the Chinese store and they were cussing up a storm. One of them turned around, looked at me and said, "Oh, excuse me, miss, I didn't see you."
Right.
A woman who was standing in the store said, "Bleepity bleep bleep bleep. I've been bleepity bleep coming through this bleepity bleep bleep, and y'all cuss and carry on in front of my bleepity bleep bleep bleep." And the man turned to her and said, "And that's why we do what we do, because you're not different from us. She walked in and we knew automatically to stop cursing." So I'm sharing that story, Elias, to say when we carry ourselves a certain way, you know, they may not know where it's coming from or what it is about. And I had on jeans and a T-shirt. I wasn't looking fat, but it's our energy, right? So all of those things make a difference. I see them selling fuzzy slippers for the bedroom in the stores now, you know, as outwear shoes. And I'm like, well, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, correct.
Whatever happened to getting dressed up and looking good?
They understand our deplorable behavior. According to their mind, they think every one of us are that way. But then we, the ones that live in this community and live morally with good standards in our home, we're victimized. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know what? And back to the victim. The question is, we need to be more transparent why some of these folks or people are getting shot and killed. We're calling them victims, but you don't know if they were killed because their agenda was to kill somebody else. So there's a war against each other.
Yes.
But the victim to me is someone who's get killed by a straight bullet. Okay? Now, when you get shot up multiple times in a vehicle, I mean, God bless my condolences to the young man that got shot. But if you don't know the whole story, there is a deal going on.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
and so these parents, Elias, started asking their children, so what's going on? The children are like, well, you can buy a gun in 2.5 hours. It's a phone, and they're so stunned. The parents are stunned, Elias, because we live in this really rich, wealthy, second wealthiest community in the country. This should not happen here. And it's that mindset that listen.
Mother, I got something key to tell you too, because like I say, I'm living it. I wake up in it and I go to sleep on it. Okay. And this is not to defend anybody, but guess who runs the drug business now? Who's running the drug dealing?
Who?
All over. It's not African Americans. Not to say they should, because drug dealing is totally the part of what's going on in our community. But if you notice in these drug corners and everything, it's Puerto Ricans and it's Black Americans. Okay? Guess who's behind the scenes selling them the bricks and the drugs and the fentanyl? The Dominicans. The Latino is running nationwide the drugs. Okay? We are the guy. We're just picking up little crumbs, but yet our hip hop artists and the radios are talking about they sell this and they living like this, and our kids are so screwed up because of the type of homes they're living in.
Right.
With our adults that are waiting for a beer deli to open up, and they're listening to these people that some of them didn't really live that life, and some of them are living that life. But look at the news. How many of them are getting shot and killed, even on Instagram? Let me tell you something, Mother. We will never, ever stop this violence that's going on in our community, because until we point out our adults in our communities that are not saying or not protesting in City Hall, marching and saying, we want jobs. We want jobs. Okay? Go walk with your pajamas in City Hall with protesting that you want jobs. Okay? But no, they're not going to do that because they want to do their drugs. They want to sleep. They want to have 365 channels, but they don't have no food in their refrigerator. And their kids are starving.
Thank you so much, Elias. Thank you so much.
I can say.
I know, and I got to take a break, and I've got other people waiting. So thank you so much, my brother. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. And I've got all these comments that I need to read between Facebook and YouTube. So let me take a quick break, and then I'll come back to the other people that are on the line. Thank you for your patience. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
Join WURD for our second annual Neighborhood Love Tour. This year we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philly. I'm Tiffany Bacon. I'm going to broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. The tour kicks off on Friday, July 16th at the Cobbs Creek Recreation Center, 2800 Cobbs Creek Parkway. Enjoy live performances, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your 4WURD membership on site. That's the Neighborhood Love Tour beginning Friday, July 16th at the Cobbs Creek Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. WURD, showing love this summer.
The WURD Radio Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Comcast and supported by Pico, Keystone First, and Ready Set Philly. This is WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. You know, every year I look forward to going to the Dell. I have been trying to get over to the Dell to get tickets for the Lady B basement party. My friend Connie and I, who normally go every year, we're trying. I can't get over there. The website is acting wonky. Y'all help mother out. I want to buy 2 tickets for the Lady B basement party because y'all don't even, I'm not asking for free tickets. I'd like to buy 2 tickets for the Lady B basement party because we go every year and we would like to be there. And for some reason, I mean, I've been working hard. Connie's been working hard. We can't get to the Dell before it closes, and those tickets are selling completely out. Please. Call the radio station. I will pay for my tickets. Thank you very much in advance. Sugar Phillips wrote on Facebook, "Good day, precious one. Our solution should be to stop inmates from having cell phones in prison. A lot of these crimes are coming from the cell of those inmates with a cell phone. Those who run those prisons know this. Stop making it comfortable to go through those revolving doors. No cell, no TV, no exercise equipment to puff up their bodies. These are criminals. Treat them as the crimes they committed, not all, but most." And so, Viola says white and black here in Delaware in pajamas in the Walmart. And they're saying that Elias was right on the money. Yep, Elias, they loved you. Sugar Phillips also said, "Gone, the commercial gone. Do you know where your kids are? No kids curfew, it's by design." Viola says, "I was born in 1947 at 1324 Marvine Street, and I went to elementary schools, had at least 10 addresses, the oldest of 16 grands on my mother's side. This is why I say we need a round table." Just like Lania Porter said, "Just like the Mount Laurel community came together to deal with the racist neighborhoods, our neighborhoods need to come back together and handle the drug dealers, the gun violence. We were taught growing up, if you're able-bodied, your first job is education. Second is to get a job because you can't live for free." Jesus. And Mary says, "This is not a drug war among blacks happening in our street. It's smoke shops selling K2 in our neighborhoods, causing psychological hallucinations, which leads to violence in our neighborhoods." So this thing is multi-pronged. It's not just one thing over here and one thing over there. There's a lot of things going on. Let me see who else was on this. Oh, my Lord. All right, hold on, Michael. Got it. So Lynn, and then I have Melissa Robbins. Hi, Lynn. How are you?
Hi, Mother.
Hi, darling. I am so good. What's going on?
I thought I heard the question, like, what are you doing to solve the pearl?
Yes, I need a solution. I need a solution.
Yeah. Well, Elias said everything I wanted to say. But
okay.
You know what? You know what helps me and helps me therapeutically also? I just get out when I'm sweeping, and I make it a must to communicate with these young people. I say, hi, how you doing? Where you live? Oh, what you doing? What you getting ready to go do? And then I offer job information that I learned from WURD, or if they could help me out. I said, well, can you help me move some furniture from my basement? Help me clean my basement? And then, Andrea, we have a lot of Africans on our block. They are growing such yummy food in their backyard. So I communicate with them how to do that. And at, these stores, Lowe's and Home Depot, they have, like stands, troughs, or whatever, that you can grow your own vegetables. So I get them to help me with that. And I'm telling you, just communicating with the young people, helping them with information, and they help you as well. Now, I was thinking about having a watch party with that Questlove movie. What was the name of it again?
The Sound of Summer.
Sound of Summer. And I was thinking about having a watch party with the young people and the seasoned people like me. And like Viola said, we have a round table and see how it's all similar. You know, it's all similar. And another thing I want to say, I wrote this stuff down. First, I got to take care of me. I'm getting my MRI, and I'm going to have my procedure done. And as long as I'm cool, I can get into some good trouble. I went to a fabulous jazz concert around my way, and I said to myself, why didn't my daughter come with me? She could have been talking to these young people. We all love the universal language, music, and the politicians in Sharon Hill came out, and I told them we need to have what Maurice said, the voter registration forms out, just registering young people and people, period, to register to vote and get into some good trouble. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. John Lewis just came out with a new book. You know he's deceased, but his young partner, who was by his side for 21 years, I want everybody to run to Hakeem's bookstore or any other black bookstore and get that book and get into some good trouble. And another thing, Mother, you know what I found out? Remember I was telling you about them old BET awards with all that shaking and disrespect to Auntie Maxine? Well, somebody came on Facebook and said we must stop all this gyrating and all that. And then they showed who owns BET now. And it was all white executives. And that made me go, So, bottom line, communicate with our young people. It's therapeutic for both sides. And we got to help each other. We got to become united and vote and help each other. Be kind to one another, and that's my remedy.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for calling, my sister. It's always a pleasure. Michael, I know you're going to let me know when President Biden is coming on. We'll make sure that we're on for him. But in the meantime, I'm just taking calls because I just can't. It's too much. Melissa, how are you, my sister?
Good afternoon, Andrea. I'm doing well. How are you?
Tired of the killing, child. It's all I can say. I'm tired of the killing. What solutions do you have for us today, my sister?
I do have a couple of solutions, but I just wanted to say, when you first came on, you said you sat and you cried because you were so overcome and overwhelmed. And I just want to tell you, Andrea, you're not by yourself. I feel your pain each and every day. I am in mental torment. I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm up until 12 or 1 o'clock at night. It's the truth. I'm in mental torment. And I haven't gotten to the point where I've just broken down, but it's because it's not because I don't know what's happening to us or what's being done to us. It's because I know what's being done to us. I know that we live in a economically and socially engineered society to generate the outcomes that we see each and every day. This is all by design to support white supremacy and white superiority, white power, and white greed. No question. No question. This is not, white people aren't inherently smarter than black people. However, they have created this playbook, and each generation, just repeats, updates, and you see what you see. And solutions. We are in so much pain. Oh, our black people, the layers and layers and layers of trauma. We're in so much pain just to see each other being shot down each day, knowing that it could be you or your family. We are constantly, intentionally being subjected to our wounds have never healed, and through white supremacy, salt is poured on our wounds daily. So by not educating black people, this is going to continue to happen. This is not going to stop. We're in spiritual warfare right now. That is what is happening.
Speaking
this is
of
spiritual warfare.
I saw an article that Dr. Haidt is in his last year of his contract, and he's not considering, not thinking about, he's focused on the students. He's not talking about whether he's going to extend his stay. And so, you know, it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And my advice to you, though, is this. Let the tears flow. I find that when I bottle it up and I get agitated and things, the simplest things, you know, make me feel nuts, right? So I let it flow. I didn't feel embarrassed or anything because it's just human nature. When you hear people suffering and struggling, that you don't just, you can't glibly, you know, just say, well, it's your issue, not mine, and I'm going back to my house. You know, we are all impacted by what happens around us. And so whatever you can do for your mental health, please, please do it. I'm telling you. Because
well, I'm telling you what I have been doing.
Yeah.
I've been going to the gym, and I've been working out. I've been using a punching bag, a kicking bag, but I've also, one of your callers called in earlier, and he said that we need to turn into each other. And he's absolutely right, because when I tell you I've been loving on people, I have been loving on complete strangers. This morning, I went to court with a 14-year-old who had gun charges. He called me last week. He called me this morning and said, Miss Melissa, will you be there? And I said, baby, I'm going to be there. And I marched myself down there and paid for that high parking. But I'm going to tell you something. I was there with that baby and his sister, and he was smiling, and then we went and had breakfast together. So I love hard, and I'm going to continue to love hard and promote and say good things about black people, smile at black people. We are people of the sun. We are a powerful people, and it is intentional what's being done to us. But Andrea, I'm going to leave you with this. With all the pain and the trauma, the sadness and the sorrow, I'm like Dr. King. I am hopeful. I feel hopeful about us. I know that we as black people will eventually overcome, because the pendulum is swinging and balance has to be restored. We black people, we're going to come through this evil white supremacy that keeps us in perpetual pain and generational poverty. I am hopeful, and I know that we as black people, we will rise and we will come through this. So everybody that's listening, be hopeful, and love hard on your family, friends, and complete strangers, because it's going to be love that's going to get us through this. The drugs, the guns, the violence, we know where the guns are coming from, and we know where the drugs are coming from, and we know where they're intended to go to continue to destroy us and break us down. But Andrea, we're going to come through this. Black people, we're going to come through this.
We are. We so are, Melissa. Thank you, my sister. My soul clicks with yours. You know, it's so funny. I look at you and I say, they probably think she is nuts. And all you're doing is loving on our people and speaking truth to power from your own lens. This morning, a young lady was just going on and on and on, and she looked like she was about to pop. And I tapped her, the top of her hand, and I said, you need a hug? And she stopped, looked at me, she says, yes! And I just enveloped her, and I said, I've been vaccinated. So I just enveloped her, and she just literally deflated in my arms. Nobody that I knew before today. You know, we just have to, you're right, just love on complete strangers. Make sure that we're taking care of one. Smile. Say good morning. We don't know how tough it's been for the person that's been around us. Maybe they're agitated because they've just been going through thing after thing after thing after thing. We can make the difference. We're so myopic and caught up in ourselves that we forget that it takes all of us to survive and thrive. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So thank you so much.
I looked in the eyes of, you know, when I went into the Juvenile Justice Center in court, of course it was filled with our young black men and women. And let me tell you something. I looked into the eyes of our young black men, complete strangers, and I smiled. I smiled, and he looked up, and he didn't know how to respond, and he cracked a little smile. It's love. Love on strangers and love hard, and believe that we can come through this, because we will. We will. I'm confident. I'm confident that we will. I don't know if I'll be around to see it, but I know that we will come through this. And I'm going to keep on doing my part, just like you do your part. Michael Cord and Charles Ellison and everybody else who's out there on the front lines, who's genuine in their heart and genuine in their soul, and wants nothing but goodness for black people and all people. But it's us. We've been hurt the most. We've been hurt, and we continue to hurt. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm encouraged.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much. Joanne Kemp, You brought up something that, so Desiderata was in my house growing up in Jamaica. It was on a plaque in a wall, and we learned it by heart. It is, go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant, for they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what that virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations. In the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. It was written by Max Ehrmann in 1927, and that is what was sitting on our wall in our living room in our house in the hallway in Jamaica, and we read it every day growing up as children. So when you see me on the airwaves and you wonder why I talk to all people, right? Everybody deserves a modicum of decency. And when you treat people well, despite what you may think about them, it comes back to you in a beautiful way when you least expect it. But when we spend all our time ripping each other apart, nothing good can come from it. And guess who wins when we do that? Joseph from Massachusetts, how are you? Joseph?
Hello?
How are you?
I'm okay. I had to call to support our lives. If African American really don't know what's going on, they'll cry. He hit it on the head with the Dominican and the Puerto Rican. I know there's good Dominican, but it's American intelligence behind that drug pushing. They're using the Dominican, and they're using black Dominican and black Puerto Rican to mask it, make it look like it's African American. And for black people who really want to solve the drug problem and the gun violence, hear what I gotta say. I know what's going on. I've been fighting this drug culture for a long time. They destroyed my neighborhood in New York. They're using the Dominicans who are the main drug pushers, and that's what's caused. Let me give you. There's 3 Dominican brothers ran the drug scene in Rhode Island. They've been deported 4 times each since 2005. They got caught with kilos, and they go back to the Dominican Republic, and they have easy access to come back to America. Well, Andrew Leonard, that's why I supported the U.S. The Attorney General of Massachusetts, of New England, he left. He went after the Dominican drug dealers. These people are getting help from legal law enforcement. I'll give you cases after cases. I fought them. I try to talk to the African-American brothers in Roxbury about what's really going on. These people are getting help from American intelligence. They're going to jail. They're getting right out. They're getting deported. They're coming right back in. And people like me, they want to come after me because I speak the truth. So it is. I see my neighborhood. My neighborhood had people like Attorney General Eric Holder, Langston Hughes, Malcolm X, you name it. And the next generation, they got hooked on that crack, and they destroyed. So alliances, there's a lot of phony black people that don't want to really say what's going on. And it's causing us, and that's what's causing the gentrification. Because the Dominican, the Puerto Rican, the Colombians, they're the ones that's bringing the drugs in. And then they get the African-American to kill all the African-Americans who snitch on them, who tell the truth, who's trying to uplift the black community. go, Elijah. You're a good man. And there's a lot of phony Negroes that come on the radio that don't really want to see what's going on. So that's why we can't solve our problem. And so many young black men getting gunned down because of the drug trade, because they can't get a regular job because we live in a racist system. Anyway, thanks for making me voice my frustration. But I had to call it to support our Elijah, whatever his name is. You have a good day, Andrea.
You too. Thank you so much. Lynn DeShield says, Marva, I had an unexpected breakdown yesterday when I called Solomon's show. A 16-year-old young lady got shot and killed in Colwyn, next door, 2 blocks up and over. She was 4 days short of her 17th birthday. I just started crying. Couldn't help it. Friends heard me on the radio and consoled me like Miss Melissa is doing us. Thank you, WURD, family, and friends. Oh, my God. Michael, I needed to think of something we can, when, 1:15 or thereabouts. What? Okay, not you. Okay, hold on, wait. Okay, all right. So I have, before I take any other calls, I have the Reverend Mark Tyler on the phone, who is going to do an introduction. He's at the location where Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, will be giving his speech. Reverend Mark Tyler, are you there?
I'm here, Andrea. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. I haven't had a conversation with you. It's so nice to hear your voice. All right, so what's going on over there?
Yeah, well, listen, so first of all, I'm certain Bishop Royster and I, who's also here, will go into more details about our experiences in the morning at 6 a.m. on the Power Hour on WURD. But for right now, we're here along with about 300 or 400 people, I would say, in the Constitution Center. Been invited to hear President Biden deliver an important speech about securing the right to vote. And we recognize that without even saying anything else, that the only group, by and large, that has had their right to vote threatened repeatedly since their existence in this country have been black Americans. So this speech is for us. So no surprise, the room is full of kind of folks that you would recognize instantly in our community. Black elected officials, persons who don't hold an official position of leadership but are certainly leaders in their own right. Again, there's a great deal of anticipation. Reverend Al Sharpton is here as well. If we want to hear what the president's going to say, not just about his feelings about attempts to restrict the right to vote in Texas and Georgia and Pennsylvania, but what does he offer as a prescriptive?
Right. So have the speeches begun yet? What is it like there?
No, right now they're still playing a lot of corny background music, if I can be honest. You know, it's that time, but I'm sitting here looking at people like Councilmember Derek Green sitting next to State Rep Jordan Harris. There's State Senator Vince Hughes. Reverend Sharpton's kind of working his way through the crowd. Councilmember Isaiah Thomas and Councilmember Catherine Gilmore Richardson and everyone else. All right, so listen, they're starting right now, Andrea, and so I'm going to have to grab my seat in a second, but I just want to emphasize that we are really looking to hear the president say something today that has substance. We don't just need the fluff, but we need the substance, the meat and potatoes today.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And we will be recording live. We will streaming live when that happens. So thank you so much for giving us an update and letting us know what's happening in the room. We fully appreciate you, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. All right. Talk to you.
All right. Bye-bye. So that was Reverend Mike Tyler, who was there with Bishop Royster from the Power Hour. They come on at 6 in the mornings. They're in the room. He described 300 to 400 people being there and that they're waiting for President Biden to take the stage. Of course, all the elected officials are in the room along with the Reverend Al Sharpton. And so once that President Biden takes the stage, we will be streaming live. So be prepared for us to cut through the source so that you can hear what he is saying, because this is very important. Our right to vote is very, very important in these United States of America. Harry Williams, do not make me laugh. And I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I'll take the next two callers. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That is WURDWORKS.com, and click jobs. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
The holistic colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the prep. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Pete from South Philly, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so good. What's going on?
Well, I just want you to know that you have listeners that don't call in but listen intently, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of them. And I enjoy your program, and I enjoy your passion.
Thank you.
The passion that you have. You know, but I really enjoyed that young lady that called in, I think it was 2 calls ago.
Melissa.
And she spoke about the power of loving on people.
Yes.
And, you know, we have a lot of that goes on that doesn't get publicity.
Yes.
You know, you have so many, almost every neighborhood has several people who do just like she says. She embraces people, even if they don't know her, with a resilient smile, a good morning, how you doing when somebody's head is down. And sometimes that's all a person really needs to make it to the next step. And I just wanted to share that with you. It's wonderful hearing her, you know, talk about her accompanying the young people to court and helping them. That's great. And that's right up your alley because you seem to have that same level of compassion with people as well.
I do.
So
That's why I love her so much. I do love her because I feel her heart and I get it, right? So it's a good thing, and it's nice to know. We know what's happening in our communities. And what we want to that's the stuff we want to talk about, though. You know what I mean? So
and
because people think.
Go ahead. Something else too I noticed is that black folks have been very successful. You know, against when you have a target on you, but yet you rise, as the poet says. We've had a target on us continuously. We still do, but yet we managed to accomplish so much. But no one gives us publicity for that because we don't control that media. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I do see what you're saying.
And the other last thing is that when I'm in the city, sometimes I grew up in the city too, so some people look so hard and so rough. But I've never had someone looking so hard and so rough be disrespectful when you look them in the eye and say good morning. When you look them and say, how you making out today, brother? The ones that look like the stereotypical one that looks like they may have had so much hardship and toughness, you know. When you look them in the eye and say, good morning, brother, how are you? I've never had one not respond on an affirmative.
So true. That is so true, Pete. That is so true. In fact, they're stunned. And it just calms them right down, you know, because you're not only appreciating it, you're giving them some respect, something that they probably don't see much of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's good. That's good. Yeah.
And even the ones that look like, not that tattoos characterize you as being adverse or negative. I'm not saying that, but the ones that have that stereotypical hard prison look, they always respond affirmatively with the looking them in the eyes of brother. Hey, good morning, brother. How are you? Or if you see 2 or 3 kids with a mother and a brother pushing the stroller, and you say, hey, my brother, it's a beautiful family. I've never seen one give you a look like you're crazy. It's like...
Right. You're so right.
Yeah, so what you're doing, your whole program seems to exude that kind of affirmation and positiveness, and I enjoy listening to you. So I'm going to get off.
Thank you. You know, I was hoping that would not be lost on people. It is not. I don't begrudge anybody their format and how they run their shows, but I really, this one was to make sure that we found, you know, solutions for people, that we listen to all people, give everybody their respect, you know, treat folks well, and just this is the, because we're not going to make it if we continue to tear each other apart. It's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And as long as we keep pressing for knowledge and education and respect, we're going to be all right, because we're winning this battle. Despite what it looks like, we are still managing to be in control of things that we're not supposed to be in control of.
Absolutely.
So I'm done with that, because you just keep doing well. I'll call in again. This is my first time, I think, calling your program.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And keep listening, okay?
Becky Bryan some time ago, who was very active on URD. So thank you, sister, for what you're doing, and continue to grow in strength and peace and love.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Oh,
Talk to you.
I love you all. You know, you hear me say it all the time, but when I run into you, you see it in my responses to all of you. I appreciate that you take your time to listen. I appreciate that you take the time to call in. And, you know, when COVID was happening last year and I was sharing, I mean, I shared openly, right? And I kept talking about the things that were going on. So this morning on my Facebook page, I told the story of buying a bicycle right as I was diagnosed with diabetes. And I was like, look, I may ride it, I may not ride it, but at least it'll give me something to do other than just spinning. I didn't get on the bicycle until May of 2020 when COVID hit and the gym closed down and we couldn't go in and do any of those things. I was running up and down 3 flights of steps, running up and down the steps, running up and down the steps, and decided to get on the bicycle and absolutely fell in love with it. And just kept riding. I started out riding 2 miles, then I was doing 10, then I was doing 20, and then I went at the height of summer last year, I was riding 400 miles a month, or a little bit over 100 miles a week. And the original bicycle that I had was just falling apart. My legs, I have super, super strong legs. I literally, and there's video to prove that, I've literally lifted a 400-pound bar. I have pitted a race car in 2 pumps, and I can push 530 pounds across a gym floor. And the guys that were at the bicycle shops kept saying, why is your bike just going to pieces? How strong are your legs? And so we had the discussion. It made me look at some bicycles, and I chose a Kona. I'm telling you this story because yesterday I went to pick up my bike. I get it tuned up. I clean it every time I use it. I went to get it tuned up at this brand new spot that opened up in Conshohocken, owned by a black guy named Mike. And there's the guy that worked on my bike, Gabby, came bounding down the steps, and he said, my God, if people took care of their bicycles the way you took care of yours, he said, all I had to do was clean it. It was in great shape. And he said, I didn't want to get off and to stop riding it. My blood sugar levels came back to normal. My peace of mind is amazing when I get out there and I'm doing 30, 20, 15, 11, 12, or whatever many miles that I'm doing. And I'm thinking about what is the best way to envelop and love all of you. That happens when I am on my bicycle. You know? And so whatever you can do, even if it's taking a walk, if it's, you know, going in and sitting down and getting a pot of dirt and playing in the dirt and planting something, planting the seeds of something and watching it grow and tending to it and talk. All of those things are therapeutic to us. If you have an animal, a pet, a dog or a car, or a cat that you love on, you know, the people that are in your family, make a dinner. You don't have to be able to make a fantastic dinner. Just make a dinner, you know, and sit at the table and ask people what they're thinking. I am doing this on purpose because I know these are the things that work. The stress, the trauma is causing us to have brain aneurysms, causing us to have brain tumors, causing causing us to have breast cancer and liver disease and kidney disease and diabetes. And, you know, we talk about these things. This is not for rich people. Meditation is not for rich people. It's for all of us. You know, finding spaces to breathe and to grow and to have kindness in our souls. And can I just tell you one more thing? The kinder you are to people, the better off your soul feels. So it's not a foreign thing. And the nastier and the more subversive you are to people, you find that you can't get yourselves together because things just don't always work out for you and people don't like you. Right? And you can't figure out why. And when you see people all around you falling away from you, you are the common denominator. Do some introspection and start to look and say, what can I do differently? How can I treat people better than what I have been doing? Gary from Southwest, how are you, my brother?
Andrea, I'm well. I just had to call you. And first of all, I want to say, you know, we all love you, Andrea, and you know that by now. Do you remember the first time we met?
No, Gary, remind me.
It was at Uncle Bobby's.
I do.
You were talking to someone, and as you were leaving, you know, I recognized you, and I introduced myself to you.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say this to you. You know, everybody can sense the love that you really have for us, for your people. And, you know, I'm that type of individual, too. And it was just a pleasure meeting you on that first experience. And now hearing you on WURD for this, you know, for this long period of time and seeing that you have not changed not one bit.
No.
And you constantly, continually show your love for our people. And we have to do that more as a collective because we're all in different spaces. However, it's just by the grace of God that we are where we are. So we always have to reach back and try to pull someone else up and help and encourage someone else. You know, because I think about my childhood. Sometimes I think I'm a miracle. It's like I didn't learn until I was an adult just to share this. I was adopted. I never knew it until I was grown.
Oh, wow.
And I was a foster child, an abused child. And it blows my mind that God brought me to this point.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say again before I go, we love you, Andrea, and, you know, anything I can do to be part or help or whatever, I'm there.
Yeah, just
Thank you
keep
so
loving
much.
on your neighbors and let's finding ways to support and love on one another, okay? All right, my brother. Dolores, how are you? And then George.
Hello, Mother.
Hi. How are you?
Hey. I just had to call, Mother, because I'm listening to all the callers, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. I said when you was going to be at the supermarket, when we were at the supermarket, I said I must go meet her. I have to meet her. Because I mean, Mother, you're as they say, the aura or whatever it is. I mean, Mother, it is so fantastic. I mean, it just reaches people, and it makes you feel good. When just to listen to you talk, it really makes you feel good. And you're telling us all the good information.
And that
me
cry.
Helps a lot. And I just want to say that, Mother.
Don't make me cry. Do not make me cry. Because
but Mother, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Don't make me cry. Because
It's
I
the
just,
truth,
you know,
Mother.
it's just, I find that you all have been torn apart and, divided so much. It's just a small way of putting all of us together so we can figure out how we can support one another. Because as someone sent me a meme of this big fish chasing all these little fish. And then, it was something I saw on the bike trail. It was painted on a wall. And then all of a sudden, the little fish organized, and they were bigger than the one big fish. And they went and swallowed that whole fish whole. And that's it, organized, right? And so we want folks to organize and to...
Yes, Mother. With your help, I think we can do that.
Yeah. I love you, my sister. You take it easy, okay?
You also, Mother. Love you.
All right. Love you too. Bye-bye. George.
Good afternoon, and how are you?
I'm good. You going to be nice to me today, George?
I'm always nice. Always.
What's going on?
99.9% of the time, I'm nice. You know, that's something very easy to do. Yeah. You know, I really want to thank your caller, the gentleman that had all the compliments.
Yes.
You know, He was very sincere, and what he was saying is true. And I like him and what he was saying because he didn't have all that chapstick on. He was saying it from the heart, sincerely, and he wasn't looking for anything. He wasn't looking for all the claps and the praises and all that other foolishness. Andrea, when they come on and try to get on your show tomorrow, you know, at this praise and worship service down there at the Constitutional Center, I was on my way down there till I heard Mark Tyler on there. I want to thank you, Mark. You changed my mind. You know, because it's one big photo op. They could have gave clearance on their constituents. They could have got people in there who never been there. All of them down there for a thing of a photo op, so they can put it all on social media. They haven't went to any meetings, but they can go to the convention center. They miss work, but they can't go to the convention center. They can go there for something where they should be having a private meeting with Biden, telling him, "Yo, man, you better get on the ball and pass this bill." They sit there listening to some get happy speech. I mean, things don't even work that way. What Biden's going to do, Biden's already decided he's going to do. He come here. One thing I like about Republicans, they don't ask for approval. They just do it. Democrats sit there and play these games and all this here. Then you got all them council people, state reps. You don't find them nowhere in the community.
Hey, George,
but if you want something, go down there. You find each and every one of them.
Let me ask you something, George, because you know, what are your solutions to all of this? Because you're right, they show up to all of those things. They show up en masse. Actually, it's the one time when you will see them all together, right? When somebody they deem important is in town. Maybe that is the time to get them to all try to work together, because it's the only time I see them, you know, and they're having good. And you're right. We will see photo ops all throughout the evening and tomorrow morning. And then the question then becomes, what have we gotten for our city? How have we figured out to stop us from losing our voting rights in the state of Pennsylvania? What are we going to do to help our people here? How much money are we getting for gun violence, and how much of that is going into the pocket of the small community members who are doing the work?
Nothing. As they say, absolutely nothing. Okay?
Like the article.
You're going to have the luxury and the pleasure, right? That as soon as I can figure out how to do it in a nice way, you're going to meet all of them's balls. All of them's balls. I mean, when it's like you think, like when the president come in, they all rise. You know, they all rise and start clapping, and they start crying. They clapping so hard they start crying. And then 2 minutes into a speech, they stand up again and start clapping and crying. And you'll see exactly what he thinks of them. He'll tell you, think nothing of them. You know, they need me, I don't need them.
George, what can we do? What is a solution? Give me a solution, George. You know,
the solution is like I keep telling you, the fools who started all this here. See, this here is a nationwide thing, really. Whereas though it's like law enforcement of all ranks against the people. You want to stop the violence, and you know the thing about defund the police. We don't want you in our neighborhood. F the police. This and that. Philadelphia took it to an all-time great and a different level than most of the people around the country. So they're paying for it. Be careful who you have in the room negotiating for you and speaking for you. You know, one of the pastors in this city that I have a lot of respect for is Reverend Wilder. You know why? He don't let politicians push him in the room or use him as a pawn standing up there propped up, you know, saying, well, we got his support. Reverend Wilder is a very well thought out person. You don't hear him on the radio sitting up there talking about we want $100 million. You never hear him talk about money. He always talk about what we can do for people. And then he even has to be careful with that because people always misconstrue what he says. They just twist it completely around. Because why? Reverend Wilder is not part of their crew who's sitting here to get this money.
I figured as much because I remember asking him a pointed question about something, and he literally rolled his eyes before. And he and I started laughing because he didn't even have to respond. You know, he's not aligned with a lot of the foolishness, and that's why Reverend Wilder is
none of the foolishness. And a lot of his members who are part of the foolishness, in his own way, he checks them. You know, like that's not right. But they listen. They just at his church for show. It's like a fashion show, a who's who session. But a lot of the people go there for the true sermon because He's not one of these school pastors that went for the degrees of what's those schools they call it, theological schools and all that. To be a pastor, you have to be called to do that. He's one of those ones that God has chosen to be who he is and what he is. Now, we've had a lot of respect for Reverend Wilder, and we respect each other. I mean, he's one I consider a good friend, and he don't take foolishness. Even though they try to use him in his church, he don't go for that. They're always trying to pull Reverend Wilder into their money thing. But let me ask you this, Andrea. When the last time you heard about preachers fighting each other about money? I mean, they do it, but they usually stay within their own perimeters of the church, you know. But you got these hustling preachers now, all of a sudden stepping out, talking about what they want to do, this and that. Where were they a year or 2 years ago? And you still don't see them out in the streets. Ask them when the last time they buried someone without charge. Or when the last time they opened their church doors for a funeral for no charge. They don't even want you in their church. I don't want them in my church. Somebody might come in there and start shooting my church up.
So,
but
George,
you'd be surprised when you go through and say, look, man, the guy was an innocent guy. He had nothing to do with his family. He didn't have insurance or this or that or the other. Listen, let's try to give him I ain't got nothing to do with it. He wasn't a member. Never came to my church.
Because churches are made up. Churches are led by men who are human in their frailty, and they need Jesus. And I said it. Yes, I did. All right, so I gotta go, George, because it's 2:42, and I've got to take a break, and the president is going to come on soon. All right.
You'll be surprised at the people who bury all these people who have no insurance, no nothing, and it ain't our people who do it. Most of the people in this city in the last 5 years have gotten buried. It was, I'll say, maybe 1% of our people
that did it. I heard that too, George, and I got the names, and they're mostly white folks who are burying our people who can't afford to. I know. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for listen. Thank you for calling in, okay? I'll talk to you soon because I gotta take this break. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
The hottest place to hang out this summer is the Dell Music Center. The lineup is lit. Thursday, August 5th, Tank, SWV, and Drew Hill. Then on August 12th, Gregory Porter, Stokely, and Leela James. Then on Thursday, August 19th, Fresh Off versus the Isley Brothers. Performing all their greatest hits with Kelly Price and Carol Riddick. Get your tickets at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. This is going to be an incredible season with Tank, SWV, Drew Hill, Gregory Porter, Stokely, Leela James, Carol Riddick, Kelly Price, and the Isley Brothers. For more information, log on to thedellmusiccenter.com.
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation.
The Black Words Book Club.
WURD Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The Black Words book for July is White Evangelical Racism, The Politics of Morality in America by Penn's Dr. Anthea Butler. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's defense Dafina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, July 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Dafina. Dafina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Maurice from Southwest. How you doing?
I'm not doing too good.
Oh, Lord. Here you go.
No. I hear you talking about solutions today, but they sprayed in front of my house last night.
They what?
They sprayed.
They shot up in front of your house?
Gunfire.
Yeah.
At least 20 shots. They found 20 shells. They had to rope off my property yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And I had just came in the house. If I've been sitting out there, I might have got hit. I'm not saying they were looking for me, but they must have been looking for somebody because they sprayed. I thought it was fire. I said, why is firecrackers going off in the daytime?
Right.
Now, I came up with a lot of solutions last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't include these death hustlers that's out here right now.
Mm-hmm.
What it is that the city has to start organizing block captains again.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then when the block captains get their association together with their members on their block, they need to have block captain meeting at the police station. So they can write down who the problems in the neighborhood and the problems like that to get the neighborhood back together.
Maurice, I got to cut into you. Joe Biden is on, so we're going to go live now for President Joe Biden. Take it away, Michael.
Folks, good afternoon. There's a serious subject I'd like to talk about today. I'm here in Philadelphia, the National Constitution Center, the city and the place where the story of we the people began. It's a story that's neither simple nor straightforward. That's because the story is the sum of our parts, and all those parts are fundamentally human. And being human is to be imperfect, driven by appetite and ambition, as much as by goodness and grace. But some things in America should be simple and straightforward. Perhaps the most important of those things, the most fundamental of those things, is the right to vote. The right to vote freely. The right to vote freely, the right to vote fairly, the right to have your vote counted. The democratic threshold is liberty. With it, anything's possible. Without it, nothing. And for our democracy and the work and to deliver our work and our people, it's up to all of us to protect that right. This is a test of our time, what I'm here to talk about today. Just think about the past election. A 102-year-old woman in Arkansas who voted for the first time on the very spot she once picked cotton. A 94-year-old woman in Michigan voted early and in person in her 72nd consecutive election. You know what she said? She said this election was, quote, the most important vote that we ever had. The daughter who voted in memory of her dad, who died of COVID-19, so others wouldn't have the experience of pain and darkness and loss that she was going through. The patients out there, and the parents. The parents who voted for school their children will learn in. Sons and daughters voted for the planet they're going to live on. Young people just turning 18 and everyone who for the first time in their lives thought they could truly make a difference. America, and Americans of every background voted. They voted for good jobs and higher wages. They voted for racial equity and justice. They voted to make health care a right and not a privilege. And the reason that Americans went to vote and the lengths they went to vote, to be able to vote this past election, were absolutely extraordinary. In fact, the fact that so many election officials across the country made it easier and safer for them to be able to vote in the middle of a pandemic is remarkable. As a result, in 2020, more people voted in America than ever in the history of America in the middle of a once-in-a-century pandemic. All told, more than 150 Americans of every age, of every race, of every background exercised their right to vote. They voted early, they voted absentee, they voted in person, they voted by mail, they voted by drop box, and then they got their families and friends to go out and vote. Election officials, the entire electoral system, withstood unrelenting political attacks, physical threats, intimidation, and pressure. They did so with unyielding courage and faith in our democracy. With recount after recount after recount, court case after court case, the 2020 election was the most scrutinized election ever in American history. Challenge after challenge brought to local, state, and election officials, state legislatures, state and federal courts, even to the United States Supreme Court not once but twice. More than 80 judges, including those appointed by my predecessor, heard the arguments. In every case, neither cause nor evidence was found to undermine the national achievement of administering the historic election in the face of such extraordinary challenges. Audits, recounts were conducted in Arizona and Wisconsin. In Georgia, it was recounted 3 times. It's clear. For those who challenge the results and question the integrity of the election, no other election has ever been held under such scrutiny and such high standards. The big lie is just that, a big lie. The 2020 election, it's not hyperbole, suggests the most examined and the fullest expression of the will of the people in the history of this nation. This should be celebrated. An example of America at its best. But instead, we continue to see an example of human nature at its worst, something darker and more sinister. In America, if you lose, you accept the results. You follow the Constitution. You try again. You don't call facts fake and then try to bring down the American experiment just because you're unhappy. That's not statesmanship. That's not statesmanship. That's selfishness. That's not democracy. It's the denial of the right to vote. It suppresses. It subjugates. The denial of full and free and fair election is the most un-American thing that any of us can imagine, the most undemocratic, the most unpatriotic, yet sadly not unprecedented. From denying enslaved people full citizenship until the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments after the Civil War, to denying women the right to vote until the 19th Amendment 100 years ago, to poll taxes and literacy tests and the Ku Klux Klan campaigns of violence and terror that lasted into the 50s and 60s, to the Supreme Court decision in 2013, and then again just 2 weeks ago, a decision that weakened the landmark Voting Rights Act, to the willful attacks, election attacks in 2020, and then to a whole other level of threat, the violence and the deadly insurrection on the Capitol on January 6th. I just got back from Europe, speaking to the G7 and the NATO. They wonder, not a joke, they wonder, Gov. They ask me, is it going to be okay? The citadel of democracy in the world, is it going to be okay? Time and again, we've weathered threats to the right to vote in free and fair elections. And each time we found a way to overcome. And that's what we must do today. Vice President Harris and I have spent our careers doing this work. And I've asked her to lead, to bring people together to protect the right to vote and our democracy. And it starts with continuing the fight to pass H.R. 1, the For the People Act. That bill would help end voter suppression in the states, get dark money out of politics, give voice to the people at the grassroots level, create a fair district maps, and end partisan political gerrymandering. Last month, Republicans opposed even debating, even considering For the People's Act. Senate Democrats stood united to protect our democracy and the sanctity of the vote. We must pass the For the People Act. It's a national imperative. We must also fight for the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act to restore and expand voting protections, prevent voter suppression. All the congresswomen and men here, there's a bunch of you. You knew John, many of you. Just weeks ago, Supreme Court yet again weakened the Voting Rights Act and upheld what Justice Kagan called, quote, a significant race-based disparity in voting opportunities. The court's decision, as harmful as it is, does not limit the Congress's ability to repair the damage done. That's the important point. It puts the burden back on Congress to restore the Voting Rights Act to its intended strength. As soon as Congress passes the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, I will sign it and let the whole world see it. That will be an important moment. And the world is wondering. The world is wondering. And Dwight knows what I'm talking about. For real. You know, the world is wondering, what is America going to do? But we also have to be clear-eyed about the obstruction we face. Legislation is one tool, but not the only tool. And it's not the only measure of our obligation to defend democracy today. For example, Attorney General Merrick Garland announced that the United States Department of Justice is going to be using its authorities to challenge the onslaught of state laws undermining voting rights in old and new ways. The focus will be on dismantling racially discriminatory laws, like the recent challenge to Georgia's vicious anti-voting law. The Department of Justice will do so with a voting rights division that my request is doubling its size and enforcement staff. Civil rights groups and other organizations have announced their plans to stay vigilant and challenge these odious laws in the courts. In Texas, for example, Republican-led state legislature wants to allow partisan poll watchers to intimidate voters and impartial poll workers. They want voters to dive further and be able to be in a position where they wonder who's watching them and intimidating them, to wait longer to vote, to drive a hell of a long way to get to vote. They want to make it so hard and inconvenient that they hope people don't vote at all. That's what this is about. This year alone, 17 states have enacted, not just proposed, but enacted, 28 new laws to make it harder for Americans to vote. Not to mention, and catch this, nearly 400 additional bills Republican members of the state legislatures are trying to pass. The 21st century Jim Crow assault is real. It's unrelenting. And we're going to challenge it vigorously. While this broad assault against voting rights is not unprecedented, it's taking on a new and literally pernicious forms. It's no longer just about who gets to vote or making it easier for eligible voters to vote. It's about who gets to count the vote. Who gets to count whether or not your vote counted at all. It's about moving from independent election administrators who work for the people to polarized state legislatures and partisan actors who work for political parties. To me, this is simple. This is election subversion. It's the most dangerous threat to voting and the integrity of free and fair elections in our history. Never before have they decided who gets to count. Count. What votes count. Some state legislators want to make it harder for you to vote. And if you vote, they want to be able to tell you your vote doesn't count for any reason they make up. They want the ability to reject the final count and ignore the will of the people if their preferred candidate loses. And they're trying, not only targeting people of color, they're targeting voters of all races and backgrounds. Just with a simple target. Who did not vote for them? That's the target. It's unconscionable. I mean, really, it's hard to declare just how critical this is. It's simply unconscionable. We've got to shore up our election system and address the threats to election subversion, not just from abroad, which I spent time with Putin talking about, but from home. From home. We must ask those who represent us at the federal, state, and local levels, will you deny the will of the people? Will you ignore their voices? We have to ask, are you on the side of truth or lies, fact or fiction, justice or injustice, democracy or autocracy? That's what it's coming down to. Which brings me perhaps the most important thing we have to do. We have to forge a coalition of Americans of every background and political party. The advocates, the students, the faith leaders, the labor leaders, the business executives, and raise the urgency of this moment. Because as much as people know they're screwing around with the election process, I don't think that most people think this is about who gets to count what vote counts. Literally, not figuratively. You vote for certain electors to vote for somebody for president. State legislature comes along under their proposal, and they say, no, we don't like those electors. We're going to appoint other electors. We're going to vote for the other guy or other woman. Because here's the deal. In 2020, democracy was put to a test. First by the pandemic, then by a desperate attempt to deny the reality and the results of the election, and then by violent and deadly insurrection on the Capitol, the citadel of our democracy. I've been around a long time in public life. I thought I've seen it all, or most of it all. But I never thought I'd see that for real. And in spite of what you see on television, and you saw it, you have senators saying it was just a day at the Capitol. Just people visiting the Capitol. Folks, but we met the test. Because of the extraordinary courage of elected officials, many of them Republicans, our court system, and those brave Capitol police officers, because of them, democracy held. Look how close it came. I mean, for real, how close it came. We're going to face another test in 2022, a new wave of unprecedented voter suppression and raw and sustained election subversion. We have to prepare now. As I've said time and again, no matter what, You can never stop the American people from voting. They will decide. And the power must always be with the people. That's why, just like we did in 2020, we have to prepare for 2022. We'll engage in an all-out effort to educate voters about the changing laws, register them to vote, and then get the vote out. We'll encourage people to run for office themselves at every level. We'll be asking my Republican friends in Congress and states and cities and counties to stand up for God's sake and help prevent this concerted effort to undermine our election and the sacred right to vote. Have you no shame? Whether it's stopping foreign interference in our elections or the spread of disinformation from within, we have to work together. Vice President Harris and I will be making it clear that there's real peril in making raw power, rather than the idea of liberty, the centerpiece of the common life. Founders understood this. The women of Seneca Falls understood this. The brave, heroic foot soldiers of the Civil Rights Movement understood this. So must we. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's literally about who we are as Americans. It's that basic. It's about the kind of country we want today, the kind of country we want for our children and grandchildren tomorrow. And quite frankly, the whole world is watching. Folks, I'm not being sentimental. I'm not preaching to you. I'm just giving it to you straight, as I promised I would always do. Lay things out on the line and honor your trust with trust. So hear me clearly. There's an unfolding assault taking place in America today, an attempt to suppress and subvert the right to vote and fair and free elections. An assault on democracy, an assault on liberty, an assault on who we are as Americans. For make no mistake, bullies and merchants of fear, peddlers of lies, are threatening the very foundation of our country. It gives me no pleasure to say this. I never thought in my entire career I'd ever have to say it. But I swore an oath to you, to God, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. And that's an oath that forms a sacred trust to defend America against all threats, both foreign and domestic. The assault on free and fair elections is just such a threat, literally. I've said it before. We're facing the most significant test of our democracy since the Civil War. That's not hyperbole. Since the Civil War. The Confederates, back then, never breached the Capitol, as insurrectionists did on January the 6th. I'm not saying this to alarm you. I'm saying this because you should be alarmed. I'm also saying this. There's good news. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be, for real. We have the means. We just need the will. The will to save and strengthen our democracy. We did in the 2020. The battle for the soul of America, in that battle, the people voted. Democracy prevailed. Our Constitution held. We have to do it again. My fellow Americans, requires fair-mindedness, devotion to justice, corny as it sounds, love of country, requires us to unite in common purpose and declares, here and now, we the people will never give up. We will not give in. We will overcome. We will do it together. And guaranteeing the right to vote, ensuring every vote is counted, has always been the most patriotic thing we can do. Just remember, our late friend John Lewis said, freedom is not a state, it's an act. Freedom is not a state, it's an act. And we must act and we will act. For our cause is just, our vision is clear, and our hearts are full. For we the people, for our democracy, for America itself, we must act. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops and all those who stand to watch over our democracy. But act. We've got to act. Thank you.
Just heard the President of the United States, Joe Biden, who had an incredible speech. If you were listening to him, he said, "Our democracy. If in America you lose, you try again. You don't call facts fake. The big lie is just that, a big lie. Votes are being challenged and recounted 3 times in places like Georgia. They're recounting it in Arizona right now." He says, to suppress the right to vote is undemocratic, unpatriotic, but sadly not unprecedented. He has Vice President Harris, who will lead the fight to protect our democracy, starting with H.R. 1, For the People Act, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. So she will be working on that. He says this is a 21st century Jim Crow assault, and it is real. The Supreme Court has weakened the Voting Rights Act, and he says we need to be clear about the obstruction we face. The U.S. Department of Justice will challenge the onslaught of state laws with a voting rights division that will be doubled in size. Civil rights groups must stay vigilant, like the NAACP. 17 states enacted 28 new laws, making it harder to vote, with 400 more that they're working on. New laws. He said it's not just about voting, but who gets to count our votes. It is election subversion. It is pernicious. Want to tell you your vote doesn't count to make their preferred candidate win. He says we need to forge coalitions. The whole world is watching. He says he's not being sentimental, not preaching, just giving it straight. There is an unfolding assault to subvert our elections, assault on who we are. And he took the oath as president to subvert all threats, foreign and domestic. He says we should be alarmed, and that, as John Lewis says, freedom is not a state, it is an act. Bravo. Thank you, President Joe Biden, who is down at the Constitution Center right now. He just gave a speech speaking about the fact that our votes, our rights to vote is being challenged at every corner, and that we have to become aware and not take it for granted as we move about our daily lives. So it'll be interesting to see what happens 2022 in the election year. And as you can see, things are happening right now in the court system, and we have to really see what's going on out here. It was a great speech. I listened to the entire speech. I took notes so that I could share with all of you what I heard, and I'm hoping that that is what you also heard coming from him. He talks about, let me just see here. Let me just, hold on. Let me stop this. What is going on here? Oh, here we go. All right. So what you just heard was a special live today of President Joe Biden, who stopped in Philadelphia to lay out the plan to protect the voting rights, or as WURD carried this live as it was happening. And so we want to thank you all for continuing to tune in and to listen to us. And then you can call me back. Maurice, you can call back, please. Now that his speech is over, we have time to talk to those of you who wanted to call in and to give your thoughts and opinions. We have a special broadcast this week, Friday, July 16th, from 10 a.m. to noon. WURD's Neighborhood Love Tour. The host is Tiffany Bacon. The location is Cobb Creek Rec Center. So here we go. This is what's been going on out here. Oh, you're welcome, Rebecca. You're so welcome. Rebecca says, hey, Andrea, God bless you. Thank you. I'll take all the God bless yous I can get in these streets. I want to share something enlightening and really good with all of you. This was such a good news thing, and we talk all the time about what's happening in the city that's not so good. But I want you, the Philadelphia Inquirer, someone wrote an opinion piece. I just want to see who wrote it. Ellen who Rubenas, who's been around for a long time, a columnist. She published this on July 9th. Meet SEPTA's bus driver, Do. His name is D-O-O. His Instagram post, want to help you to be a better rider. For about 2 years, the SEPTA bus driver has used his Instagram page to remind riders about the public in public transportation. Okay, thank you, Michael. Before you next hop a city bus, allow me an introduction. Riders meet Eric Lilly, better known as Bus Driver Do, a family nickname turned popular online persona. For about 2 years, the 34-year-old SEPTA bus driver has used his Instagram page to remind riders about the public in public transportation. Think lighthearted but pointed skits starring friends and fellow drivers and helpful tips, friendly, no cussing, to improve everyone's riding experience. Some do's and don'ts from Bus Driver Do. Don't be the first to rush on if you don't have your fare ready. Everybody you're holding up will blame the driver. Skip that last drag on your cigarette and spare everyone the secondhand smoke wafting into the bus. Give a wave or a sign of life when the bus approaches you, so the drivers don't have to guess whether you want to get on or are inexplicably chilling at the bus stop. He's amazing. This is funny. And if a bus driver waits on you or gives you a break after your Oscar-worthy performance of patting down every pocket, make your parents proud and say thank you. That way, Lily advises, you won't be early for the next bus. A playful hashtag he uses to warn riders to behave or be left behind. Before we get too far down the road, a little background on this Philadelphia dad. Lily is the second oldest of 11 siblings in Southwest Philadelphia. He's driven for SEPTA for nearly 10 years, 8 to 12-hour shifts on any number of routes, mostly in and around South Philly. There's a lot of time to see the good, the bad, and the straight-up ridiculous of our fine city. One of his most popular videos is about the day Lily, new to the job, noticed a mattress leaning against a bus stop sign on his Broad Street route. When he pulled up, a guy sitting on a couch commanded, "Yo, open the back door. Me and my man about to put this bed and this couch on there." No way. Lily asked where the other riders were supposed to sit. On the couch with us. As accommodating as Lily tries to be, he wouldn't allow it. That's the problem with you bus drivers now. Y'all think you own the bus. It's public transportation, the guy argued before Lily pulled away. For years, Lily regaled his families with these you can't make this up stories. And then in 2019, his sister Zanzi Shabazz suggested he started sharing them. These stories are funny, she told him. You should start telling them on Instagram. He started with a healthy 800 followers and plenty of grateful riders like Gertrude Page, who recently boarded the number 57 near Whitman Plaza with bags full of discount potatoes she set on one of the priority seats. He's very patient with me, she said. Now, Lily got upwards of 10,000 followers from all over the globe. See what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. When you find ways to take what you do and help as many people as you can, this bus driver is doing some good stuff. Bus Driver Do from SEPTA. So that was a good thing. I know I have some callers. I'll take you when I come straight from the break, okay? Riders recognize him, kids and adults want photos with him, and starring roles in his skits. Fellow bus drivers from Texas to England and even Jamaica have invited him to ride along. Coming soon, Bus Driver Do goes international. Some have dubbed Lily the voice of bus drivers, an amusing moniker considering the route he took to the job. This is a great story. And it was just a good way to lighten up this stuff. Lily, who went to Bach High School, was studying business management at Delaware State University when his uncle, a longtime SEPTA train conductor, who is now retired, suggested the job. Steady paycheck, good benefits, job security. Lily wasn't immediately sold. He had come across some pretty sour bus drivers in his travels. I thought it was just driving a bus. I didn't think of it from their perspective, Lily said. Think about it. A person who rides the bus is on there for a half an hour at the most. But we're on those buses every day for 8 hours or more, seeing and hearing everything. The perch comes with a view and an appreciation for the people in his city. I love it. I absolutely love it. I only go through blocks for maybe 3 to 5 seconds, but I see people every day fixing cars, washing cars, selling stuff off tables, off their grills. It showed me that in the city, people are real hustlers, and I don't mean that in a bad way. No one gets his respect more than women who ride his bus balancing children and strollers on their way to daycare and school before heading to work themselves. When you see their struggle, that takes a lot of strength, he said. I couldn't do it. One of the recurring themes in Lily's video is comic reminders for fare evaders that it costs $2.50 a ride, but for bus driver due, the roll-in front seat to Philadelphia is priceless. This is awesome. There's a bunch of videos here too. Great piece, Helen. So we're going to take a quick break, and then I'll take the callers that are on the line. Thank you for your patience. You had just listened to President Joe Biden. I gave you a brief description of what he discussed as it applies to our voting rights being subverted, and he wants to make sure that we are okay. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Are you an educator looking for a life-changing opportunity? Youth Build Philly Charter School might be the home for you. Apply to Youth Build to join a family of educators dedicated to learning and growing with young people. Check out current opportunities at youthbuildphilly.org or follow them on social media at YouthBuildPHL. Join Youth Build today. Youth Build is now accepting applications for the class of 2021.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
Berger Montague is a Philadelphia-based plaintiffs' class action law firm committed to helping Philadelphia's black community. Berger Montague maintains a strong commitment to fostering diversity and equity throughout the legal community and in society in general. In 2020, Berger Montague filed a pro bono case against the IRS when they refused to send COVID-19 stimulus checks to federal benefits recipients with dependent children. Thanks to Berger Montague, people across the United States were able to obtain dependent benefit checks that they desperately needed. Berger Montague supports WURD Radio and Philadelphia's black community. For more information about Berger Montague Law Firm, please call 215-875-3033 or email at info@bm.net.
If you or a loved one is searching for a home care agency that provides care both needed and deserved, call My Independence at Home at 215-921-2277. Featured in Oprah Magazine, My Independence at Home is committed to quality, compassionate home care for the elderly and adults with both physical and intellectual developmental disabilities. Call 215-921-2277 today for a free in-home consultation or visit us on the web at MYIA.org.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I went on Instagram to go find bus driver do. I think he's bus_driver_do. He has 12,000 followers, and I'm sure counting after today as we're talking about him. But listen, can you imagine pulling up as a bus driver and seeing someone with a whole couch and a mattress? Yeah, public transportation, I need to get on. Can you imagine? People are hilarious, but you know what? That's probably was the only way they could get the bus and the mattress and the chair from one place to the next. Not everybody has access to cars and to vehicles, transportation to take them where they need to go. That was hilarious. Tom from South Philadelphia, how are you? Tom?
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes, sir.
I got a daughter to power. If she just called me, I want to say this something. She said she got all these white girlfriends, so-called. She said, well, how come Donald Trump could get 53% of white women to vote for him, all that stuff he said about him and everything? So she said, let us look around at some of our white girlfriends and go like, well, he got more women to vote for him than they white men.
Who are you talking about, sir?
I was talking about Donald Trump.
Oh, you're talking about Donald. Okay.
And then he got more votes this time than he got before.
Yeah.
And she said, because our white friends always told us he hate Donald Trump and everything. How could they hate him that much if he got 53% of the vote?
I know. It doesn't make sense, but
but she was telling me about, he told me he hate him, he talk about women, call him ugly and everything. And they voted for him, 53%.
Okay, so here's the
I was
thing.
trying to say, well, a lot of black people told us about Donald Trump and in the background, he loves what he's doing like he loves Frank Rizzo. I had white people say, I hate Frank Rizzo and everything. He went 2 times, he dropped dead because he's trying to change the charter to run again. He would probably win again, too.
But remember, I said, remember me saying karma is real? Karma comes back when people least expect it, you know. It's very real. It's absolutely very real.
She said he was a good president. Well, I don't like him, but I like some of his policy. I'm like, he don't call them all kind of names and touch them and everything, call them ugly and pigs. And then he got 53% of white women's vote. So that white woman next door to you was you might say, well, please look like you. No, they don't.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of sir, a lot of women voted for him, not just white women, and black folks voted for him too. So then we went to ask the question, what was it about him that made folks, want to vote? We have to ask the question. Because based on everything that we saw, one of the things that I learned from a lot of black people, see, this is the thing. I talk to people all the time. And one of the things that I learned from black folks in particular was that they made more money under his presidency than anyone. Didn't care what he called them. They made money. They were making money. And so they didn't care. You see what I'm saying? So you got to ask the questions as to why. To them, it came down to dollars and cents. While other people were struggling, they figured out ways to make money under his presidency. So that's why the black man is. And they were calling into the show and telling me, that the Democrats didn't do a diggity dang thing for them. But when he won the presidency, they made money. So you have to listen to people when people tell you these things. You listen. And the other thing the other thing that they said was that they paid way less taxes, made way more money. Because he changed the laws. So
Mike Tyson said that too. He loved Donald Trump because he had to pay that much tax. Mike Tyson said that too. Jim Brown.
The more money they made, the less taxes they paid under his presidency.
Jim Brown said that he loved him. Jim Brown. I can't believe it. Don't they have no class, no principle, nothing?
Yeah.
At least about the Republicans, they'll die for what they believe in. We're going to pray. Thank you.
You're welcome, Tom. Tom said the Republicans would die for what they believe in, but we sitting around talking about we going to pray. Well, if that was not a mic drop, I don't know what is. What is? So you can call in. Maurice, please call me back, darling. I did not mean to. I had to tune into President Joe Biden while I'm at it and talking about Maurice. If you see crime in your area, like Elias called in and said we can do it anonymously. No, the drug dealers don't know. They can't tap into your phone and know that you're the ones making the phone call. The tip line for Philadelphia police is 215-686-8477. And if you want to call in, 215-634-8065. Hold on one second. Lynn says, thank you, Andrea, for playing Biden's speech at the Constitution Center. That wasn't me. This is Word Radio. They played it. They want to make sure you got it. So say hello to Word by supporting them by getting a membership if you don't have one. It is encouraging because a senator from Pennsylvania is demanding that we recount the votes from the presidential election even though it's over. This is what I can't understand. These people are crazy. The presidential election is over. Stop, accept the results, and stop trying to suppress the black and brown vote. Stop, people. Unite and fight this craziness. All right? So yeah, all right, let me see who is on the line here because I know I had a caller. Nick from Overbrook, how are you?
How you doing, Miss Sanders?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
You don't sound so hard. Are you okay?
Yeah, well, I need a lawyer. Somebody ran into my car, so anybody got a good lawyer? Lord knows. Trying to reach out to Dr. Burton. But you know, I was up here thinking that I heard a little piece. I don't know, Joe. I don't let me read quite quick. I heard a little piece on the news the other day about Bill, and they said he's trying to go back to work. I think a couple people didn't close him down. You know, and I was hearing the brother earlier in your program when I was coming from school. He was like, you know, we need to give back. And all that money, I think that woman, Nikki, had said that she got $3.4 million. I mean, you know, we like to come to the world with nothing, we leave with nothing, first off.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you would think he would turn around, say to his wife, you know, there's so many, I see the young girls out here just doing things in these senior citizen buildings. That they come in for one job, and then they get caught up in the money. And thank God my kids are in their 40s. But, you know, it's like, man, I mean, now you're trying to go back to work. You know, I don't get it. But you know what? They need to open the door for Trump to sell Bill got out, put Trump in there, and you know, I mean, we playing around. You know what I mean? We already know where things is going. You know the Sharks. You know the Sharks. Come on. But it's just sad to see. And he got up and had audacity to turn around and before all this went down, to tell the young brothers out here. I spent 20 years in psych helping thousands of people. But you know, he turned off, pull your pants up off the ground. Where he got there telling, and you hear you pulling your pants down with a pill. You know, give back something, Brother Bill. You know, I don't get it. But that's all I really want to say. I enjoy your program, and you're a people person. And, you know, I just think that maybe if he's listening, because a lot of these places he's ready to try to get, I guess, to work at, a couple of them said they don't want him. Isn't the writing on the wall, brother?
Right.
All right, you have a blessed day.
You too, my brother. You
got a lawyer, let me know. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Oh, Lord. He said, you got a lawyer? Let me know. Somebody hit his car. That's a hurting piece, man. And especially when the cars are not insured and you got to go through your insurance company. So you got to, if you're underinsured, overinsured, you know, and you got to pay extra for us. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, my brother, my heart goes out to you because it's a lot. Here's another good feel-good story. Police escort gaggle of geese down Schuylkill Expressway. David Chang wrote this. This is, oh, my Lord. Wait a minute. What is this golf club attack that I'm looking at? Something about Anthony Hardy Williams and somebody he works with in a golf club. I'm going to have to look at that. Whether at the link or in traffic, Philly can't help but get excited over a group of birds as police and drivers proved Sunday morning on the Schuylkill Expressway. Traffic cameras from KYW News Radio captured police escorting a gaggle of geese as they strolled down the eastbound lanes of I-76 between Belmont and City Avenue. The unusual procession caused some traffic delays. Fortunately, drivers remained patient and no humans or birds were harmed. This is so funny. Take a look at the pictures below for Malcolm Poindexter III. Malcolm Poindexter III. Oh, Lord, look at this. They done held up the whole craziness. Just craziness. Jamaica, that would have been a different story. Let me see, Michael. Who was... Jacob. Jacob, how are you, my brother?
All right. Peace be unto you, my sister.
Peace be
how
unto
you
you,
doing?
too. I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Yeah, just listening, but, I was just hearing the brother on about, well, one of the brothers said about, he said about praying like that ain't in the equation. See,
right.
When you add prayer, you still got to get up off your knees and go to work because it says faith without works is dead. So,
it's dead, right.
But never discount prayer, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't care what religion you are. If you're a Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Jew, whatever, you pray into somebody, a higher power. So I don't, when I say about prayer, I don't care what religion you are. I know if you pray into a higher power, you should be trying to become a better human being. So, I mean, though we got to do the work, don't ever, discount the prayer. But the last call about Bill Cosby, that's funny. We get on Bill because Bill asked the brothers to pull up your pants. Come on, man. That's a natural movement. I'm an old head. Believe me, if you become a young man, almost grown, you should have been taught to pull up your pants, not to let your underwear show. Like that's a good thing. That's not good. That's not anything that's. Matter of fact, if they was to learn the culture where that come from, they wouldn't do it. But what's wrong with Bill Cosby asking his young men to pull up the pants? And ain't none of us perfect. I mean, I see this guy, Marv Albert. He's still calling the NBA shows. And look at the sex thing that he was involved in. He was biting the women, right? Leaving bite marks and everything. He's still doing his show, the NBA, the finals and all. Marv Albert, right? Then you got the guy that's the senator who took ecstasy and a woman trafficked a 17-year-old girl and had sex with her. Ain't he still up there on the hill? So let's stop being so hard on our people because they might have made a mistake, and let everybody else go without any. Don't even touch them.
Yeah, you said hold everybody accountable, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. And again, still pray, but get up and do something. Get out in the world and do something. Help somebody. It ain't all about prayer, but we don't throw prayer away either. Right, sister?
You're right.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. But thank you. I just wanted to call in. You didn't have such a rough day today, did you? Okay, because they work. I know how they work you. Did Brother George call yet?
Yes. George called. Woody called. Prince called.
Okay.
They all called. Maurice called. I told Maurice to call back because we had to cut him out because of President Biden. The only person now I'm missing is Tyrone.
Okay. Oh, but you got to get on the phone with Tyrone. All right. Well, sister, look, you ain't got too much longer, so I hope I'm gonna listen for the rest of it and see who I hear. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Oh, wait, hey, Jacob.
Yeah.
Is he going? Malcolm White said he would love to meet you, and so would I. I would love to meet you one day.
Well, one of these days. Yeah, one of these days we gonna hook up. I work every day. So it's hard sometimes for me to get away, but when I can, I'm gonna slip away and steal away and get out there and meet some of the WURD people.
That's right. Thank you so much, Jacob. Take it easy.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, when the sun breaks down upon up on the roof. For some reason, Jacob brought that song in my head. And your shoes get so hot, you wish your tired feet were fireproof. It's hot outside, under the boardwalk, down by the sea. Yeah. On a blanket with my babies, where I'll be. My father used to sing that to my sisters and I to make us go to sleep. Under the boardwalk. I tell you, the things I remember as a child. All right, so KYW, 1060 a.m. This was written by, with his Philly contract nearing end, Hyde focuses on Philly students this summer. This was written by Mike DiNardo for KYW News Radio. Philadelphia School Superintendent Dr. William Haidt is entering the final year of his contract. However, he isn't focused on that extension right now. Haidt has been in charge, and Tyrone called. Hyde has been in charge since 2012, and his contract expires in August of 2022. With little more than a year to go, KYW News Radio asked Hyde if he's thought about an extension of his contract. I have not, he replied. I am too focused on getting young people back in schools right now. Hyde said this summer he's concentrating on school labor contracts and improving school buildings. He plans to talk to the school board about his own future in the fall. What I have asked the board is, once we get the children back, if we could then have that conversation, he said. I think that's when we should have the conversation and not distract from those things now. And the board has agreed that we will talk about that sometime in September after children are back. Hyde is paid $335,000 a year to lead the district. Mayor Jim Kinney, who appoints the school board with the city council confirmation, said he wants Hyde to stay. I would love to have him back. It's up to him whether he wants to come back, he said. I think he's done a great job. He's been a great image for the school district, and he's been a great leader. The school principals union last year declared no confidence in Haidt, and his most recent evaluation from the school board gave him grades of needs improvement in systems leadership and promoting student achievement. Haidt, for his part, wants to stay. In my heart, I love this work. I love doing this work in Philadelphia, he said. So we'll talk about it in September. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Pandemic COVID-19. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious time. You know, we are at a strange time in our lives when we have to make decisions, really important decisions about our lives and the lives of our family and our friends and neighbors and strangers. And you know, making decisions like that is no play. So I'm going to say this little rap for you. We call it a poem or a rap. I hope that when I'm finished saying it, you'll be able to say it also. Pandemic time, the vaccine is free. Get your vaccination as quick as can be. The Delta variant may be a new concern. Be willing to take time. Be willing to learn. And I'm going to tell you something. We all better be willing to learn, and we all better be willing and ready to take that vaccine. This is no playtime. And I would say from the bottom of my heart, amen, amen, and amen.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to the final segment of the show. Sandra, how are you?
Wonderful, Sugar. How you doing?
I'm good. What can I do for you?
Listen, you had a young man on your show, I think, or on the phone. But anyhow, he made veggie burgers. And I want to know where that young man is. What is his progress? I would like to support him.
Okay. So you're going to make me dig. I'm going to ask Brianna, see if we can find him. A young man that made veggie burgers, right?
Right.
And a young man, if you're listening, that made veggie burgers, please call. Because, our Lord, we talk to so many people every day and every week, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And
I'll find
you
him for
gave
you.
some good advice to have it patent and all that old kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you even had one and you was talking about how good it was.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're talking about the patties, the Jamaican patties. It's not a veggie burger. Those are Jamaican patties. I know exactly. You're talking about junior patties.
Okay.
They're patties. They're patties, and he has curry chicken patty, curry goat patty, oxtail patty, callaloo patty, cabbage patty. Lord, those patties are delicious.
Well, when can I get one?
So here's what you're going to, so you're not on social media. I know how to reach Junior, though. So I'm going to get Junior, and I'll get the information, and I'll share it on the show on Thursday, okay?
All right.
All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, my sister. You have a good one, okay?
All right. You too now.
All right. Bye-bye. I think you better call Tyrone. Call him. Hey, Tyrone, darling.
Hello, Mother.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm so good.
Look, I was just laying back, listening, enjoying everything that's been said.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jacob asked about the callers and you said everybody but me,
yeah,
I said, well, let me let them know I'm there. But I just think that Brother Jacob is the greatest humanitarian in the Western Hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
He is so sharp and shows so much human understanding.
Yes. Yes.
That when he
people
makes
people
comments,
listen to him, and people listen to him, right?
Right,
Because he comes from a place of calm. Yeah, he's emotional. So Jacob is what I would call emotionally intelligent.
But
you know?
when he makes a comment, it is full of humanitarian. He always talks about the human aspect of everything that we're going through. And so I just love to hear that, brother.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to let him know, thank you for calling my name, good brother. Because I call your name as much as I can.
Yeah.
So, Mother, how's everything?
We're good. We're good over here. You know, the child tax credit payments start this week as the IRS tries to reach millions of low-income families. And we, you know, yesterday we talked about taking some of that coins and making it work like a charm for you, saving it and investing it. And, you know, so we're working through those pieces through the WSFS bank. There's a livelihood segment that we do the first and third Mondays of every month. So for the folks who got children, those checks are coming. Yep.
Well, I definitely will be touching bases with my granddaughter.
Yes.
But she had to hit me up for a little help. And I'm right now that's helpless, but I did help her.
Yes.
Well, wait a minute. Let me say it right. I did help her with the help of my brother.
Yes. Oh, okay.
But Mother,
and, you know,
I did just want to, just call Solomon Jones' name out because he ended his program with talking about the potential of our young people. And when he said it, the first person that came to mind was you because you have so many great young people who just shows their greatness. And once again, Mother, I hope I could say it without, falling apart or tears coming to my eyes. But at my nephew's funeral yesterday, with homegoing service, those young people are so magnificent. I would say there was about 50, maybe 60 different designs and shirts that they wore, paying respect and homage to my nephew.
Right.
And when I looked at that, I didn't just see the artwork, but I seen the creativity, their great imagination. Man, those shirts said so many things. And the only thing that I'm just praying for, Mother, is they stop doing what they doing to one another, because their potential, and again, that's another word that Solomon used, their potential. But if they ever get a chance to actualize who they are, you know what? Ain't no telling where this world would go. They're just gifted. They're just truly, 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 truly gifted.
Yeah.
And I just thank you for always bringing those gifted minds, those young hearts, that new creativity, always bringing it to us almost each and every day. So I love you for that, and I thank you for that. And that's my contribution for today.
Yes, thank you for calling, Tyrone. You just ended the whole trifecta. All of you have called today, so you have a good one, okay?
All right, and I love you, a Mother.
Yes?
Mother Earth.
Yes.
I don't care what would he say, how he say it, how he tried to cook it up, fry it up, or boil it. His love can never touch my love. I love you way more than he do.
Woody's going to meet you out in the street, man.
And
Talk to you.
And I hope he heard me say that.
You know he heard you. You're about to catch it. Love you too, my brother.
And tell your husband, I love him too.
I will. Talk to you soon, Tyrone. Have a good day.
Okay.
Give my regards to your lovely wife. Bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye. So I want to read this quickly to you as the show ends. So for those of you who don't believe this, new child tax credit payments start this week as IRS tries to reach millions of low-income families. Melinda Williams, a married mother of 5, didn't think her family qualified for the child tax credit since they didn't earn enough to file income tax returns. So the New York City resident didn't pay much attention to Congress's historic increase of the benefit earlier this year. But then her pastor, Bishop Mitchell Taylor of Center Hope International, last week told her that the expanded child credit could be worth $3,000 for each of her kids for 2021. Williams made an appointment at Urban Upbound, a free tax prep center Taylor founded, for the next day and filed a 2020 return, which will allow the Queens family to receive not only the monthly child tax credit payments, but several stimulus payments they missed out on. See? Williams plans to use the funds to cover some expenses as well as school supplies and clothing for her 2 girls and 3 boys who range in age from 7 to 17. And she and her husband also hope to sock away some money to pay for college and buy a home one day. And that is what we're hoping that people will do. That this money, because for so long the very poorest people have been left to just wallow in the poorest places, and so this is the leg up, and we don't know when this will ever happen again, if ever in our lifetime. So these monies that are coming your way, please figure out ways to not just use it to help you to uplift what you need to do within your families, but figure out ways to save money and to let that money grow so that you can live off the interest from that money. It is very important that we continue to have those kinds of conversations, and as we are loving on our children. This episode of the Source is officially over. Coming up next is Nick Taliaferro with Evening Words. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Love you, Michael, on the 1s and the 2s and the 3s. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, all of you. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.